Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was transported to My Hero Academia. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by AIG217 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. A confused blonde walked the streets of a city he was unfamiliar with. Hell, he had never been in an actual city. He wore an orange blazer and black pants with combat boots. Well, that's what he found when he woke up in a room that wasn't his. At first he thought he passed out of exhaustion because of his training, but then he remembered defeating Kaguya. However, in her final moments, she managed to create a dimension and suck Naruto away from his world. Now he was here. The noise outside was something he was not used to. As he made his way to a large window panel, his eyes bulged out of his sockets. Long gone was Konohagakure, it was replaced by a metropolis filled with skyscrapers and lots of traffic. He took a step back before screaming, "Where the hell am I?" Well, that was this morning. He was currently walking through a park with no clue of where to go. Something he did notice was people with super abilities. It wasn't ninjutsu though, it reminded him of one of the pains he fought. Distracted by his own thought, he failed to see a young man wearing glasses in incredible speeds running straight at him. With no time to slow down, the man collided with Naruto, sending them both to the ground. "Boy, watch where you are going," Naruto exclaimed as he rubbed his head before helping the other man up. "My apologies, but I am in a hurry. I must warn the teachers that the students of UA are in danger. They have been ambushed inside USJ by the League of Villains." Naruto's face turned to a serious look. "Do you need any help? If you have a cell phone, please call the police." Before the man resumed his sprint to the school. "Wait, where is USJ? Maybe I can help," asked Naruto, stopping the man in his tracks. He was contemplated to tell him. Before he turned and pointed to a dome that was barely visible. He then disappeared quickly after that. "Well, if I am here, might as well be useful. Who knows, maybe I'll find something out." Naruto began sprinting towards the direction the guy with glasses said. "Do you know where we are, Kurama?" Naruto asked the tailed beast inside him. "No. This is not the world you know. This is another dimension entirely. That bitch sent you here as her final attack." The fox replied, "It also seems your sixth path sage mode is gone." Naruto nodded before continuing to the dome. All Might stood in front of the bioengineered man known as Namu. His amazing punches has little to no effect on the creature due to his quirk. He scanned the students to see if they were in danger, but they were in a safe distance. They helped him out of a bind, now it's his turn to save them. He once again dashed towards the creature and instead of his usual one punch, he began to letting steam off with a series of punches. Slowly the creature began to elevate off the ground before he was pummeled away by All Might, breaking throughout the ceiling and disappearing. The victory came with a cost, however. He stood proud where he was, but he knew he couldn't move anymore. He was a sitting duck. The students were at a distance they could not match the villain's speed, and the one who could save him, young Midoriya, was unconscious after he tried taking on Namu to defend his friends. He saw the teen with a hand on his face approaching him, ready to deliver the final blow and turn him into dust. Out of nowhere, a flash of orange appeared. The boy he had never seen before, with a blue sphere in his hand and a determined look on his face. Time slowed down for him to scan every single detail from the teen. Rasengan. The blonde teen pressed the ball against the stomach of the villain, sending him spiraling away in a gateway his ally produced. "You okay, mister?" he asked out of breath. "You saved my life, young boy. I have never seen," All Might said before disappearing in steam. Naruto looked on to see how the overly muscular man turned in the scrawny one who looked on the verge of death. "Don't tell anyone," Naruto heard All Might say before a wall of cement appeared before him and concealed the hero away. The sound of adults began to fill the arena. He saw the young man with glasses with him. He was able to get help just in time. The teenagers behind him were in awe that someone like Naruto existed. "Who are you?" the one with red hair asked. "Uzumaki Naruto," he answered proudly. Naruto was sitting down in a bench recalling everything that has happened so far. Not even an hour into this dimension and he got involved in a life and death situation. He chuckled to himself, but then he heard footsteps approaching him. It was the girl with black hair that has a revealing outfit. He blushed before turning away. "I just want to thank you for saving Kyoka, Kaminari and I back then when we were in a jam." She bowed, showing a bit more of the cleavage she already has been exposing. Naruto blushed more and scratched his head lightly. "He no big deal. And what's your name?" The girl blushed embarrassedly. "My apologies, I haven't introduced myself properly. My name is Yaoi Rozumomo. I am pleased to meet you." She extended her hand and Naruto smiled, getting up from the bench and shook her hand. "Uzumaki Naruto, likewise. Like I said before, Momo-chan, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have not known what was going on," and pointed me to All Might. If even a few seconds had gone by, he would have been dead already. Yes, I know, but still thank you for saving us, Naruto-san. She smiled. Anyways, I haven't seen you around here. Are you new to Musatafu? Well, something like that, Momo-chan, Naruto said. He was about to say something before they were interrupted by a small animal. Uzumaki-san, the small dog said, could I have a word with you? Naruto turned to Momo, who only nodded and left them alone. Naruto followed the man to a room filled with teachers who had come to the rescue, including All Might, who was deep in thought. They were sitting down in a U-shaped desk, and a lone chair was in front of them. All the seats in the U were taken except for one that must belong to the bloodied man with long hair. Please take a seat, Naruto-san, the animal man spoke as he sat right next to him. First off, you have seen All Might in his true form. We ask of you to please keep it a secret. There are a few designated people that know his true identity. Naruto looked at the blonde teacher before nodded, you have my word. Great, next, this facility is top secret and only heroes should know about it. How were you able to find it? Naruto explained the event that happened earlier with the young man with glasses. It appears young Iida's quick decision saved some students and myself as well. All Might broke his silence. I believe there should be no punishment to the student. I agree as well, but telling a secret hero facility to a complete stranger could have backfired completely. I believe we should give him a warning in case of future cases. All the teachers nodded before the principal continued. Last but not least, Naruto-san, where are you from? Naruto hesitated to answer, but felt there was no danger telling teachers about himself. After all, he owes his ninja careers to one special teacher back home. I am not from this dimension. This got the attention of all the teachers. I am from a world where shinobi walk the earth. In this dimension, I am just one of the millions of shinobi that practice ninjutsu. Before arriving here, I was in the middle of a war. Two crazy men with powers that could rival gods lured the 5 great nations into war. However, this was all a master plan by the creator of ninjutsu, Kagaya Otsutsuki. My team and I were on the verge of victory from the deity, but at the last moment she managed to create a portal to which I was sucked in, and here I am. The principal nodded. I see, Naruto-kun. Do you mind waiting outside so we could process this information and what we'll do with you? Naruto nodded and exited the room and waited outside. As soon as he walked out the door, he was being stared at by all the students. Boy, who the hell are you? Asked another blonde male with an annoyed face. Bakugo, don't he, spoke one of the guys who had red hair. Why don't you shut the fuck up and mind your damn business? Bakugo spat back, WTH, fire in his eyes, literally. I am Uzumaki Naruto, I just moved here, he replied with a smile as he leaned against the wall of the room he just exited. Another boy with silver and red hair took notice of his pause and frowned. Barely walking back to the group was Midoriya Izuku. His arm and part of his head was covered in bandages. Eku-kun. Are you okay? Asked a girl with brown hair and a tight black suit. Yeah, I'm fine thanks to recovery, girl, he smiled back to her before turning his attention to Naruto. From what I heard, you helped All Might, asked a green-haired boy approaching him. Yeah, I did. I always help people in danger, Naruto replied. Thank you then, sensei couldn't do anything since I was knocked out. All Might is very important here. Midoriya extended his arm and waited for Naruto to shake his hand, which he did. He smiled back at him and most of his classmates as well. The door to the room opened and the teachers walked out. Principal Nizo spoke to the students. Thank you to all of you who helped defeat the villains. You were amazing and only prove the UA has the top students. It was unfortunate that your field experience turned out like this, but that is the hero world. You never know what can happen. All I can say is learn from the experience and battle for the future. The students nodded and understood the lesson the principal was saying. Now regarding you, Naruto-kun. Since you are new here and you don't have anywhere to stay, you can either stay in a dorm or with one of the students. Momo spoke quickly, he can stay with me. The students looked at her with wide eyes for how quickly she responded. This made the girl blush. I mean, my residence has many guest rooms and I am sure my parents won't mind to help a fellow student. The principal smiled and nodded, very well, but that is up to Naruto-kun. Momo turned to see the blonde smiling, yes, I accept. Thank you, Momo-chan. That settles that. The other thing, Naruto-kun, is since you are still underage, you have to go to a school. Seeing that you are well capable of being a hero, you can join the UA if you can manage to impress in the sports festival in a week, continued Nizo. The students got excited hearing the sports festival with the exception of a few broody ones. Now students, classes are cancelled for the day. The bus will take you back to school and you are free to live to your homes. The bigger cheer was heard in the dome after that announcement was made. Chapter 2. Naruto was in front of mansion belonging to Momo's parents. Amazing, this is your place. Momo smiled and nodded, it is nothing, Naruto-san. Come, let's go in. I already told my parents about you by text messages. By what? Naruto asked. Getting a confused look from brunette girl. Text message by cell phone. She took out her phone and showed it to him. Did you have these from where you are? No. In my world, we used messenger birds to send messages across places, he asked as he observed the pink object in his hands. The phone vibrated making Naruto jump and let go of the phone making hit the floor. Both of them looked at the object before Naruto picked up once again. The screen was cracked this time. I'm sorry your cell phone cracked. It's okay Naruto-san, don't worry about it. I'll get a new one. She said without a care and they both went inside her home. The inside was almost as amazing as the outside. Nothing compared to this in Naruto's mind. It made him feel small. He was brought out of his thoughts by Momo's parents. They introduced themselves and made Naruto feel at home. They soon excused themselves as they seemed as busy people. Sorry about my parents Naruto-san, she spoke before continuing, I bet you must be very worried for you. Naruto flinched at this, my parents actually died, Momo-chan. Oh I'm sorry, she replied not knowing what to say, but Naruto continued, but I got to meet them somehow, so I'm not that upset. Their legacy makes me who I am, he said with a grin that made her smile too. Anyways where am I staying at Momo-chan? He asked. Oh the room you are staying is at is across of mine so I'll show. They both headed to their bedrooms and Naruto continued to explore his temporary home. Rare artifacts and expensive paintings decorated the halls of the mansion. He might actually get lost here. They reached the door to his room and opened it. It was almost the size of his old flat. A lot of place to maneuver and do things. He could do so many activities here. The room was fully furnished and ready for him to move in. All you need is clothes Naruto, she said, and I already arranged to go shopping with the guys from class so you could get to know them. Oh and here this is your new phone. She handed him a black cell phone brand new, it already has my contact info and some other from school. I also asked for a tech member to help you how to use one. Naruto smiled, thank you Momo-chan, but as you sure just giving me like this, I mean I have no money. Look around you Naruto-san. Does it look like we need money? It's the least I could do to help a fellow friend. Now come on we should get going to the mall. And off they went in a cab. The teachers from UA were gathered in one of the halls of the school, talking about the attack on the students and about Naruto. Someone had told the League of Villains about the school trip to USJ, and you could also add that to someone sneaking through the school perimeter. The target was All Might this time, but the students were also targets to invoke the legendary hero. However the topic was on the blonde ninja who appeared out of nowhere. Are you sure we should let him compete in the sports festival sir? Asked Midnight. He has all the talent to become a hero. He also could be a big help to us in case any more attacks against the students. Replied Nezu. If it's true what he says. The boy has been trained to be an assassin as a ninja. He might instinctively kill one of our students. I mean the attack he did almost tore the attacker apart according to All Might's description. The blonde man with blue eyes spoke, yes, young Naruto could have killed that man, but I have a feeling in my gut he was holding back. He carefully measured the strength of his attack just main him and distance him from me. We simply do not know enough about the boy, said Snipe behind his gas mask. It's true that he helped All Might, Eraserhead and 13, but that could be part of his plan, so we can trust him. Perhaps he's the one helping the villains. All Might once again intervened, if that's the case, then even more we should keep him near and coach him to become a hero. I believe that is the right move too, Semta spoke, if he were an enemy, we still have Eraserhead to remove his quirk and interrogate him. If the boy is slack. If he was truly a villain, he would have not interfered. With All Might gone, the villains could run the country. I say we give him the chance to prove himself, spoke Present Mick. If he performs well in the games, we'll have Eraserhead keep an eye on him, said Ectoplasm, that's the only solution. He is still young and has much to learn. So it is settled then. No one is against this anymore? Nezu asked and the teachers shook their head. But then. We must get things ready for the festival. Midnight will be in charge of the games this year. Midnight nodded and smiled comically, oh it's going to be so much fun. The students met at the plaza of the mall, but eventually everyone split up leaving Momo and Naruto by themselves. They went into several shops and looked for clothes for both of them. Naruto picked his style of orange, black and blue colors. While Momo refused to let him see her clothes to Naruto's protests. Soon both were eating in the food court with dozens of shopping bags around them. Momo was eating a salad while Naruto ate ramen. After tasting a bit Naruto knew it wasn't nearly as good as Ichiraku's. He looked up to see the girl studying him strangely making him blush, what? Is there something on my face? The girl blinked and shook her head, sorry about that I tend to study details of everyone once in a while. Anyways, aren't you nervous about competing with other students in the sports festivals? Not really. I mean where I am from we have a similar test called the Chunin exam. We literally face life or death in that tournament. Momo became pale learning that, but what would happen if you died? Did the school get sanctioned or something? After graduating from ninja school, you are considered adults. Once they give you this, you are a full-blooded ninja." He took out his hitty from his pouch and showed it to her. The plate was scratched and bloodied from all the fights Naruto has ever taken place. Besides, before taking the exams, we signed a waiver saying we understand the possible outcome of the tournament. Well, the festival is nothing like that, so you don't have to worry about anything like that to happen. "So tell me about yourself, Naruto," she asked curiously. When I started my ninja career, I was asked to talk about myself. Now here I am doing the same thing. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like ramen and eating ramen at Ichiraku's ramen stand. I like to train to become stronger and developing jutsus. My dream is to become the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village." Hokage? Is that like the strongest ninja in your world? Well, it's sort of like a position in a village. Yes, you are the strongest ninja and you protect and oversee everyone. So everyone is like your family more or less. Really? And what made you want that dream? She asked, trying to get more info about her friend. Well, when I was kid, I was an orphan and hated for something I had no control over, but one man cared deeply for me, even though I was nuisance. He was the third Hokage at the time and almost like a grandfather figure to me. He helped me a lot and well, I looked up to him. Everyone acknowledges the Hokage and that's what I wanted too. How many Hokages have there been? Momo said, finishing with her salad and intrigued from the stories her friend was saying. 5 so far. Recently I found out my dad was the 4th Hokage, so that made me even want to become one even more. Well, I bet you'll become one once you get back, she said, smiling back at him. Hopefully, if I get back. I still don't know how I got here and have no idea how to get back. He looked worriedly. You'll find a way, Naruto-san, she said, grabbing his hand and squeezing with a warm smile that made Naruto nod back. So what kind of jutsus do you have? She asked. Well, my 2 signature jutsus are the shadow clones and Rasengan. I can create a sphere of chakra in my hand without having to use hand signals, and I can also my wind affinity to create the Rasen Shuriken, a more powerful version of the Rasengan. My shadow clones help me get the upper hand in numbers. I'm assuming that you have more jutsus, right? She asked, to which Naruto nodded, but I don't want to know more about them, since it is better you keep them a secret for the festival just in case. Well, I believe it's time to head home, Naruto-san. The others never returned, but I am pretty sure they are busy. Besides, we need to train for the festival. He nodded and went to throw away their trash. So what is your power, Momo-chan? You'll see at the games, Naruto-san. It might surprise you. She smiled at him and the blonde just chuckled. Elsewhere in a dark room, a group of people gathered around a bed. A young pale man with grayish-blue hair laid in the bed with bandages around his torso. That blonde kid, he was different. He isn't a hero, his voice was filled with pain. All Might used cheat codes to summon that kid and attack me. You see this? This is all his fault. He wasn't someone from the report they told us about. Shigakari, a ghastly figure, spoke beside the injured villain. We must acquire more intel from that blonde kid. He could pose a danger to us if we don't know what he does. Yes, do that. How are the Namu coming along? Asked Shigakari. After getting battle data, they're being altered to withstand much more physical damage than before. All Might had trouble with one, now we have more in numbers, so their chance of failure are slim to none. Good, he is going to die after cheating like that. After my wounds heal, we'll attack once again. Now I know who is All Might's favorite pupil and can use that as an advantage to gain ground against him. For now, send scouts to the festival to see if that blonde kid will participate and gain data from him and every other student. Understood, Shigakari. The ghastly figure disappeared along with every other one in the room, leaving the injured young man by himself. Shigakari, out the corner, a dark figure spoke. Those men you have aren't strong enough. You'll have to recruit more members to defeat the propaganda-proclaimed heroes. Shigakari looked at the direction the voice came from. You lied to me. All Might hasn't gotten weaker. He is still the same. No, I was correct. He is getting weaker. In the past he didn't need help from anyone to defeat villains. Now he needed help from raw students to defeat you. Within time All Might won't be able to defend himself and a symbol of peace would be defenseless and fragile. That is when we will be able to kill him. For now, rest and become stronger. The dark-figured man disappeared from the room, leaving the injured person by himself in bed. Chapter 3. Naruto had gotten used to living in this world, although he would get bored when Momo left to school. Tomorrow was the day of the sports festival, and his tryouts to enter UA would begin. Her parents would make sure Naruto was comfortable in every way. At first he didn't know how to react to their caring ways. Eventually he began to offer to do small chores around the house so he wouldn't feel like a leech living off them. Currently he was outside with a few clones training. He was trying to improve his taijutsu a bit since he knew most of his attacks could kill and he didn't want to do that. He tried recalling how Lee or Guy-sensei would fight, but it was nearly impossible to imitate them after all they have trained all their lives to taijutsu. He settled with his usual brawler style with many clones. Naruto, spoke a low voice in his head. He stopped immediately and dispelled his clones. He sat down by a nearby tree and closed his eyes to speak with his partner. He entered his mindscape and saw the mighty Nine Tails, Kurama with a serious face. "What's up, Kurama?" he asked as he got closer to the chakra spirit. "Have you figured out yet why I don't have sixth path sage mode?" The fox shook his head answering his Jinchuriki. "The reason I have called you is because ever since we got here, I am sense another chakra presence." "What? That should be impossible," argued the blonde teen. "That would mean another ninja is here in this dimension. Could it be Kagaya?" "No. Had it been her, you should have been able to sense her due to her huge amount of chakra. This source of chakra keeps moving around, perhaps he or she could sense you." Naruto stayed deep in thought. "That person could be my way home. Can't you track them down?" "What do you think I have been trying to do?" The fox snarled. "This person seems to be able to shut down their chakra completely. I would suggest you stay alert at all times, Naruto. Now leave, I am going to sleep." "Got it," he answered before he opened his eyes to another pair in front of him. He blinked a couple of times before flinching and hitting his head on the tree behind him. "Ow." He groaned in pain as he held the back of his head with both hands. The girl in front of him laughed before apologizing to him. "What were you doing, Naruto-kun?" "I was meditating, Momo-chan." He stood up, meeting her face to face with a blush of embarrassment before he realized something. "Hey, how come you are home early from school?" She smiled and replied, "They gave the students the day off to relax and prepare for tomorrow. Are you ready?" He grinned. "Believe it. Tonight the class wants to get together at the beach for a bonfire. Do you want to come?" she asked him. "Sure, sounds like fun." He gave her a foxy grin. He had befriended most of the class already with the exception of Bakugo and Todoroki. Bakugo reminded him of Sasuke and Kiba put together. He was talented as Sasuke but had Kiba's short temper and loud mouth. Todoroki reminded him of Neji, a prodigy and calm-minded and closes himself off from the world. Not to mention his costume is all white like Neji's ninja gear. "Then we need to do some grocery shopping for tonight," she said, "but first you need to shower, you smell." Naruto chuckled before agreeing. Momo herself had change. She was reserved at first, but being with Naruto, she has been able to be herself. She was teased at school by the other girls, well, mainly Ishido, about the blonde living with her, and Mineta would cry and complain to her that Naruto stealed her from him. She denied to say anything about Naruto and kept lips sealed. She changed from her school clothes to something more comfortable, a pink sweater and leggings. She sent a text to the group chat made for the class and asked what she should bring. Ishido: "I'll take the marshmallows." Uraraka: "I've got sodas." Iida: "I would be responsible for bringing the waters just in case." Midoriya: "I guess I'll take the chocolates." Jiro: "I'll take hot dogs, buns, need someone to take the weenies." Kaminari: "Leave that to me." Mineta: "I got wood." Hiroshima: "Mineta, chill man, we didn't need to know that. Anyways, I'll take plates and napkins." Ishido: "Gross." Sai: "Mineta, please don't be so vulgar." Ribbit: "I'll take the shish kebab sticks." Mineta: "You guys. I meant I'll take the wood for the bonfire." Momo: "Naruto and I will take the graham crackers and I'll make the seats and ice chest to use there." Midoriya: "Nice thinking, that'll save us a lot." Ishido: "So you and Naruto." Aoyama: "Owl Amarest Bell, is there anything for me to take?" Mineta: "Yaoi Rozu-san, why?" Jiro: "Leave her alone, guys. Whatever she does with Naruto is her business." Uraraka: "D." Midoriya: Aoyama, I think we are all covered." Aoyama: "Very well, I'll take extra sodas just in case." Momo: "I am having second thoughts of starting this chat." Ishido: "We're just playing, Momo, you know that." Zero: "You're forgetting chips." "I'll take them." Toru: "Does anyone mind if I take ice cream?" Uraraka: "Ice cream? Yes." Ajiro: "I'll help Mineta with the firewood, I'm sure he can't carry a lot of them." Hiroshima: "Burn. Hahaha." Kaminari: "Lol, I'm dead." Mineta: "I hate you guys." Sato: "If Toru is taking ice cream, I'll take some cones then." Toru: "Thank you." Midoriya: "That should be all of us. The others won't be able to make it." Iida: "Then that settles who is responsible for everything." Bushido: "See you guys tonight." Momo stopped replying to the group when Naruto was ready. He looked completely different from his usual orange. He was wearing some khaki cargo shorts and black t-shirt. Yet orange could never escape him as he wore an orange snapback cap. "So what are we taking?" he asked. "We need to buy graham crackers and an ice chest." "Well, just the crackers, I'll make the ice chest." "Alright, so let's get going then," Naruto said with a grin as they walked out of the house. They walked through the aisles of the convenience store trying to find the graham crackers for tonight. After not being able to find them, they asked an employee and pointed to them to one of the end caps. They thanked him and started walking towards the item they were looking for. Out of the corner of his eye, Naruto saw an old lady trying to reach something from the top shelf. "Hold up, Momo-chan," he said quickly and left the girl. She turned to see him walking toward the direction of the old lady and went up to them as well. Momo saw the exchange of words and Naruto reached for the item she was looking for. "Thank you, young man. I tried reaching, but my old body just doesn't let me anymore." "You're welcome. Was there anything else that you needed?" "No, sweetie, that was all, thank you." She saw Momo behind him and smiled. "Such a cute couple you two make." Both of them blushed before Momo spoke. "Oh no, we're not a couple." "Really? Such a shame. Maybe my granddaughter would like to meet you, young man." Momo's heart was beginning to beat fast, but then he heard Naruto speak. "Sorry, Oba-chan, but I already have my eyes set on someone already." What was she feeling? Momo thought, who could that person be? Well, whoever she is, she must be very lucky. "Well, I won't take much of your time anymore, thank you once again." With that, the old lady left, leaving both teens by themselves. Naruto turned to see Momo in a train of thought. "You okay, Momo-chan?" She snapped back to reality. "What? Oh yeah, come on, let's find the crackers." He nodded and continued to the end cap. They bought 2 boxes and went to pay for them. Before long it was getting dark. They told the driver to take them to where the class was meeting. When they got there, they saw a few of them beginning to set up. Mineta and Ejiro setting up the wood for the bonfire. While everyone else was clearing the area of any shells of trash that has been left behind to have a place to walk around. "Momo-chan. Naruto-kun." They heard the pink girl yell from afar, waving at them. They both smiled and walked to the direction of the camp. "Is everyone here?" Momo asked of her classmate. "We're just waiting on Shiro and Toru. Everyone else is here removing any kind of trash that can cut us." Naruto smiled and said, "I'll help with that too." He summoned a few clones and ordered them to help the class clean up the beach they are staying at. "I guess I'll start doing the chairs," Momo said and began to materialize the objects from her body. Elsewhere, one of the clones was talking to Midoriya as they cleaned the beach. "It must be amazing to be able to produce clones to help you out." "Yeah, it is, but it comes at great cost. If I use too many I get very tired and fall unconscious," the clone responded. "Has that ever happened?" the smaller teen asked. "From just using my clones, no. It's combination of fighting for a long time and using other attacks that tired me out." "I see, so you must have a lot of stamina to keep summoning clones, right?" "Yeah, I do. I rarely run out of gas, but it has happened before." "Well, it looks like the beach looks clean for us to walk without any problems, guys," Jiro said, getting all of their attention. "Mineta, Ejiro, is the firewood ready?" "Yes, it is." Mineta answered as he stared at the Momo picking up her sweater so it won't tear as she produced the ice chest now that she finished with the seats. Naruto picked up a pebble and with a small amount of chakra hit Mineta in the head, causing him to yelp. "What the hell was that?" He looked around and saw no one cared for what happened. He cursed with tears. "Does anyone have a lighter to start the fire?" asked Kirishima. Everyone looked at each other and forgot all about it. Everyone face-palmed. The most simple thing has been forgotten. Naruto smiled. "Don't worry guys, I got this." He did a quick hand signals. Katen. Flaming palm technique. A small spark was seen before a fire spawned in his hand. He placed against the wood and it began to catch fire. "Wow. You're like a Swiss army man, Naruto-kun." Uraraka exclaimed. It was nothing. "I'm not strong with fire, but I can do small ones like this," he explained. They all sat down and chatted as the fire grew bigger. Uraraka and Midoriya both got up to roast some marshmallows. Jiro, Kaminari and Iida were roasting some weenies for the hot dogs. Kirishima and Ishido were flirting in their seats. Mineta and Saya were arguing about something. Mineta said. Aoyama was staring at the stars twinkling like them. Toru, Shiro and Sato were eating ice cream. Momo and Naruto were also roasting marshmallows and talking about the couple besides them. "Do they like each other?" Naruto whispered. "Rumors say she does, but that Midoriya-san hasn't shown interest yet." "Really? By the looks of it they are having fun with each other," he replied. "I know, Naruto-kun. Maybe just infatuation from her. Midoriya-san can be quite persuasive." "Is that so?" "Yeah, he is like small fire that grows real big and strong among our friends." "Well, I think that is awesome. It is like he has the will of fire inside him," he answered. "What is the will of fire, Naruto-kun?" she asked curiously. "Well, according to the third Hokage, it is what makes a shinobi strong and gives the strength to continue fighting against all odds and grow as a person, building willpower in the process. It is also the hopes and dreams of the previous generation being passed on to the next. I am assuming Midoriya is fighting for something that makes him drive for more." "Wow," she said, "that is a strong ideal, Naruto-kun." They both made the s'mores and ate it as they sat down among the rest of the class. Uraraka, touching her fingers, said, "Is anyone else nervous for tomorrow?" They all looked at her. With so much fun they had forgotten that tomorrow was an important event. "I am," spoke Momo, "with so many eyes on us we have to do our best and give the hero course the reputation it has." "Yeah, I've heard people from other courses could take our spot if we don't perform well," Kirishima said, making the group more nervous. "The purpose of this bonfire is for us to forget about tomorrow," Midoriya spoke. "I agree with Midoriya-san," spoke his friend Iida, "tomorrow is a different day and we all must give it our best, but until then let us enjoy ourselves among each other." They all smiled at the class rep. "Okay, let's change topic," spoke Ishido, "so Naruto, did you have a special someone in your world?" This caught Naruto by surprise. "What do you mean by special?" "Like a girlfriend, crush or something like that," she replied. Everyone was staring at Naruto with a wondering look with the exception of Momo. "Well, there was this girl who I liked since we were kids." This made Uraraka, Ishido and Tor squeal. "She had pink hair and was in the same team as I was. At first she hated me for being annoying, but eventually we grew fond of each other. We always had each other support for anything." "Oh, so cute," Ishido said. "However, we had a third teammate. He was my best friend and her crush. A love triangle." Aoyama was now interested in the story. "I guess you can put it like that. At first he was my rival, but then we became friends. However, he had a tragic past that led to a vendetta. He pursued power and deserted our village going rogue. My other friend was crushed when this happened. It was at this point that she started letting go of her fangirl ways and sought to become stronger to help me bring our friend back. This is when we grew close to each other. At the end I came to realize something." "What was that, Naruto-san?" Midoriya asked. "We would only be friends. So yeah, that is my story about my friend." Iida looked at his phone and gasped, "It is late already, my friend, we should start cleaning to get some rest, tomorrow is going to be a long day." The group nodded and began putting things away. They left the chair for anyone to use in the future. One by one the group starting leaving. The last to leave was Iida, just to make sure nobody stayed up later. Naruto and Momo were falling asleep on the ride home. She leaned up against him and had her head on his shoulder. "Naruto-kun," started Momo. "Yeah? You can count on me for anything," she said with tired voice. "Likewise, Momo-chan. I'll support you no matter what." "Thanks," she whispered before drifting to sleep as Naruto did as well. Chapter 4. The crowd roaring in the background put the students of UA nervous. Currently all of them were in their classroom waiting for instructions. They were all handed the uniform they would be wearing in the tournament, which was blue jumpsuit with the letters U and A in white. This was to make sure everybody had equal advantage. Naruto looked uneasy as many of the other students outside the hero course kept giving him the evil eye. Some of them knew of his predicament and resented it, while others took it as another challenge. He looked different in this suit they gave him, blue was definitely not his color. He looked at his friends and noticed most of them were eerily quiet. He approached the closest person he knew. "Momo-chan, why is everybody really quiet?" the blonde teen asked his companion. "Everyone is just focusing in the festival, that's all," she said, herself rather uneasy as well. "But I mean, why are they nervous? They're already in the course. What's the worst that could happen?" He wondered again. Before Momo could answer, a monotone voice, which reminded him of Gaara, was heard behind him. "If a student from an outside course performs better than one of the hero courses, he or she would replace that said student." Naruto turned around to see a purple-haired teen with eye bags under his eyes. The teen gave Naruto a cold stare as he studied the blonde. "Some of us hope to do that, Uzumaki Naruto." The blonde stared back at the student talking to him. He gave off a terrible vibe and those eyes of his were confirming his observation. That's when he noticed more students behind him giving him that same vibe as the purple-haired teen. An outsider who is given the opportunity to join the course even though admission has long passed is an abomination. Other students have given everything they had to join this course, yet you're almost a foot in. Not only that, you get to participate in the sports festival as well. Uzumaki Naruto, I resent you. Everyone behind me shared the same feeling. If I were you, I wouldn't trust anyone. Not even your friends you might end up replacing. The purple teen finally stared after a long time before walking around him. Naruto looked back at his friends who only looked away from him and then to Momo who showed a worried face. He was alone again. Don't listen to him, Naruto-kun. Naruto turned to see Midoriya smiling back at him weakly. We all have to give out best to impress everyone out there. You do yours too. He is just riling everyone up against you. We are all friends here after all. Naruto turned to see his friends, but still none of them looked at him directly before he smiled. You're all training to be heroes, right? Then take this as another test in your long careers. You are still learning, you know. I mean, you guys have an advantage. You already know your quirks. I have yet to see any one of them. Naruto tried his best to comfort them, but everything was thrown away when the next chilly voice was heard. It doesn't matter if they know your quirks. It all depends how well you use them and how to apply them in combat. The teen with silver and red hair with a burn mark on his left eye walked slowly to Naruto before stopping in front of him. That judgment isn't something you teach. It is something you are born with. You, Todoroki turned and pointed at Deku, and you, I am going to defeat you both. In the background, smoke was beginning to smell. Another blonde heard the conversation and was boiling inside. The second top student declared war with Deku and not to him. That bastard dared to ignore him. He'll show him, thought Bakugo as he grinned. All of a sudden the intercom came to life and told the students to start walking to the stadium. One by one every student began walking out the classroom and into the hallway. The stadium shook with roars as the students came out of the tunnel. Heroes throughout the world watched to see possible sidekicks for their businesses. One by one an excited Present Mick and Dead Eraserhead introduced the courses. All students lined up in front of the heart camera in front of stage, where a beautiful and sexy woman with tight skin outfit and whip stood there smiling. "Hayama-sama. What are you wearing?" Some of the girls shouted at the same time while some of the boys blushed at the daring outfit. "Since we are in the sports festival, I cam as Lady Midnight," she winked as she whipped the stage. "I am going to be in charge of the festival this year, and first thing first we are going to have some words from the top student in UA first years. Will Kitsuki Bakugo step on up?" All of the class 1 turned to see the short-tempered teen unnerved as he stepped forward ignoring everyone. His classmates knew he didn't care what they thought, and so his unpredictability could label everyone in this class as an enemy. Bakugo looked at everyone in the stands and slowly leaned into the microphone in front of him. Without breaking eye contact with the crowd he spoke confidently, "I am going to be number 1. Everyone blinked at him before a thunderous boo erupted from the fans as Bakugo stepped to the stage as he stared at Todoroki, then to Deku, then to Naruto sending a message. "Such strong words from young Bakugo," Midnight said confused before gaining her form back. "Anyways, for the fist part of the festival, you all would be participating in an obstacle course. It is divided into 3 stages, which you all will find out when you get there. With that being said, let the games begin." X. All the students were outside the stadium in a path that leads to a tunnel. They were all ready to begin the race as only the top 42 students would be able to move on to the next stage. Naruto was loosing up in a corner, observing anything he could seek his eyes into. Having to fight 2 gods back to back tend to do that. He already knew his powerful adversaries. Todoroki, Bakugo, that purple-haired kid and Deku. Nervous? The girl next to him questioned him. He smiled back, "Nope, I am just excited to begin. I have nothing to lose after all. Momo-chan, let's do our best." She nodded back and smiled before the screen on top of the starting mark began to sound. 3, 2, 1, go. Immediately everyone sprinted toward the tunnel. Todoroki ahead of everyone as they reached the tunnel, and everyone else began cramming into the small opening. Naruto began to feel a cold air feeling the hole they were in and in a second noticed heard yelling from the people in front of him. Ice was forming on the ground. Without hesitating, he jumped to the walls and began running with the chakra in his feet. Some of the students gasped as he trailed behind the ice user. Other students began to thaw the ice out and resumed the race, with most of the class 1 ahead of the others. The quirks began manifesting themselves one after the other, trying to use the most of them. Perhaps the one who surprised everyone was Minetta's sticky balls. He began to pull them of his head and throwing them on the ground and stepped on each one, avoiding Todoroki's ice on the floor. Minetta surpassed Naruto as he was having trouble with the ice as he had nothing to hold on to. "Haha, take that, Todoroki. I outsmarted you and now feel the wrath of Minetta-sama's special attack." He was cut off from a blow to his back by a mechanical arm. All of them, including Todoroki, stopped at the amount of robots from the entrance exams blocking their ways. "What are those things?" questioned Naruto before Iida answered him. "Those are the robots we are forced to fight during our entranced exam. Although we were supposed to ignore these because they were a waste of time." The silver-haired teen looked insulted by the robots. "If this is all they have, I am truly disappointed." He froze a robot that was mid-step and went between its mechanical legs without a second thought. 2 followed him before the robots began falling. "I wouldn't do that. I froze them when they were unbalanced so they might fall." True to his word, the ice began to break by the metal weight and fell down on top of 2 students. The other contestant froze instantly. "Are they dead?" asked Ishido. Shortly after, metal banging was heard from the rubble. First it was soft, but then it became louder and louder until a hand punctured through. The red-haired Kirishima in his hardened form popped through the hole. "That bastard. That was really dangerous. Had it been someone else they would have died." Soon another metal banjin began to sound. Similar to Kirishima, another teen with grey hair popped throughout. He had greedy outlining in his eyes with sharpened teeth and was in a steel state. That was dangerous. If it had been someone, they would have died. They both turned to look at each other before they began sprinting on top of the fallen robot, complaining that they both had almost the same quirk. As the student stared behind them and blonde blur past them in speed. Bakugo was using controlled explosions in his hands to propel himself in the air. He was picking up a lot of speed, that half bastard. I'll kill him. He quickly reached the top ahead of the other two, but was met with Zero, who had used his tape lines to pull himself up, and Tokoyami who used Dark Shadow to rappel himself to the top as well. Down on the floor, the robots began to attack the students as they tried to come up with a plan. All the One students defeated the smaller robots with ease due to the fact they have already had real combat experience. The others did not, but sounds of cannon sounded through the air as Momo stood next to one. The 0-point robots began falling as they left a gap for the students to squeeze through. Naruto looked at his friend with amazement. He panicked because he's never seen a robot, yet he or she was blowing them away with ease. He looked at everyone doing his or her best to impress the camera. He saw Deku picking up a piece of metal, Uraraka destroying robots and Iida breaking them with ease. He nodded and understood. They all wanted to be accepted just as he once wanted. He fist pumped his hand and began moving ahead. Stage 1 clear. Todoroki had a tremendous lead reaching to the second stage. It was a large crater with sporadic towers of rock that were connected with each other by steel binds. Todoroki asked the situation quickly and approached the closest line before freezing it. He balanced himself and began gliding through the obstacle course. Bakugo in the air began his long trip to the other side as the students began gaining on him. He cursed before speeding up his bursts. The students stood at the edge of the crater not knowing what to do next. They all saw Atsui jump and land on the rope with both hands. This is just a glorified rope climb, ribbit. The rest looked on as the Toad girl crossed the crater. A small giggle was heard behind the group as they turned to see a pink-haired girl with goggles and a mechanical suit strapped on. Isn't using mechanical equipment illegal? Questioned Uraraka. It is for the hero courses. In order to level things, those from the support class are allowed to use any equipment they bring as long as they made it. Now the whole world will see my babies in ACTION1. A small projectile followed by steel chain was shot from a small hole in her belt. It lodged itself to the nearest tower and she repelled of it, landing with both feet on the side of the wall. She then activated a fan that picked her up an inch from the wall and blasted to the top of the tower. The students were marveled to what she just did. Assess the situation and use the best of your abilities to cross, someone yelled behind the group. It turned out to be Naruto, who was sprinting at full force before jumping off the ledge. The student shrieked as the blonde teen was beginning to lose momentum in the middle of the nearest tower. Naruto-kun. Momo yelled before she saw a familiar sign she's gotten familiar with. Age Bunshin no Jutsu. A clone appeared next to Naruto as it grabbed him by the arm and tossed him as high and far as possible before dispelling. Soon Naruto landed on top of the tower before turning to see the other students before smirking and giving them thumbs up before continuing. He repeated the steps a couple more times before he landed on the side of the crater. Stage 2 cleared. In first place, we have Todoroki Shodo. Nothing less than remarkable for the son of the number 2 hero endeavor. The talent must run in the family if you must say, sounded excited Present Mick, while Eraserhead looked at him weird. In second place, catching up to Todoroki is Katsuki Bakugo. The fiery student has a lot to do to back up his earlier comments that fired up the other students. And in third place, and it is a shocker. The outsider known as Uzumaki Naruto is behind the number 1 and 2 students in UA. He has a lot to prove if he wants to be accepted to the school. Go kid go. You're supposed to unbias, you know, stated a bandage-covered Eraserhead. This made the color commentator stop in his tracks to apologize. Anyways, the last and final stage is the Amine field. It is not powerful enough to hurt anyone, but they're strong enough to set you back a couple yards. The more you get through the field, the more there are. Who will be victorious? Todoroki was walking carefully throughout the minefield. He chose not to freeze the ground because it will help those catching up to him. He observed the ground since the mines were easily visible. He heard the bombs bursting in midair and turned just in time to dodge a punch from Bakugo. I am going to kill you. This is for declaring war on the wrong persons. Bakugo began punching the ice maker, who was dodging both his punching and mines. I am going to be number 1 undisputedly. The blonde continued his assault as they heard running behind him. Naruto was catching up to the first two. He was dodging the mines with ease. Todoroki looked at Naruto's eyes. They were different. They were dark red with a demonic slit for pupils. Ha! These humans are weak. Use my powers to detect them and beat those two. Kurama roared inside of Naruto, who only smirked, revealing 2 canines. As he reached the 2, Bakugo shifted his body as he began giving punches to both of them. Naruto was dodging them and returning some of them, but Bakugo was able to move on instinct. The 3 sprinted as they fought for first place. Suddenly an explosion got their attention. They saw a huge cloud of smoke before something was sent flying in the air. The Bakugo and Naruto both said, Deku. The green-haired boy was riding the shield Naruto in the beginning. Needless to say the blonde was amazed. Todoroki took this distraction to grab Naruto's right hand and Bakugo's left hand before freezing them. "What the?" Naruto said looking at his right hand completely frozen. "Kurama, take of this. I am already on it. You know if you were to use my powers this would thaw out in a beat." "They're not ready to see that. Even now that I know someone with chakra could be observing me," Naruto yelled as he continued running. Bakugo heat up his head and blasted the ice shards away as Deku used another explosion by stomping the shield on the ground, blowing up another mine to surpass the three of them. "Deku, you bastard. Get back here." "Sorry Kachan, I have to win this no matter what," Izuku yelled back as he made it to the safe zone. Todoroki froze the ground ahead of them to avoid the leftover mines. Naruto, unable to propel himself with the help of his clones, sprinted as fast as he could with his hand frozen. "You're amazing, Deku. Stage 3 clear." Back in the booth, stage 3 has been cleared. Who will come out on top? Such amazing performances by these four gentlemen who have given their all in this race. Todoroki's genius methods helped him throughout most of the race, but now that doesn't matter as three other students are fighting first place with him. Bakugo's explosive quirk has rocketed him to the front of the race. Let's see if he's able to back up his provoking comments earlier. Perhaps the most amazing thing is how Midoriya projected himself to first place using a giant explosion. That takes guts. Even more remarkable is the unknown and perhaps future student of UA is Naruto Uzumaki. He took on every challenge and had an answer for everything. Let's see the final moments. The four teenagers entered the tunnel that doesn't have any cameras inside to make the ending a surprise. Midoriya went first, followed by Todoroki, Bakugo, and last was Naruto. The whole stadium awaited the first person to walk out of there. First place goes to Midoriya. The former quirkless student sprinted out of the tunnel when suddenly a flash was seen inside. Naruto popped out of nowhere for second place. Todoroki wide-eyed came out in third as Bakugo had the same surprised look. Naruto regained composure as he stared back at the other two and with a stern look warned them before he smiled. In second place Uzumaki Naruto. Followed by Todoroki Shoto and Katsuki Bakugo for fourth place. Congratulations to Midoriya who came in first place. The green-haired teen with tears smiled as he looked at All Might who was grinning clapping his hands. "Well done young Midoriya. You showed yourself to the world." The crowd erupted as the teenager stood at the center of attention. The hooded person stood in front of a store that had TVs for sale in a glass window. They had the sports festival on as the camera shifted between the top four students from the obstacle course. The blonde got his attention before turning to the street and walking along, Uzumaki with a gust of wind he disappeared. Chapter 5. Race results. Izuku Midoriya. Naruto Uzumaki. Shadow Todoroki. Katsuki Bakugo. Ibara Shiozaki. Yuizu Hananuki. Tenya Iida. Yumikage Tokoyami. Pantasiro. Ijiru Kirishima. Tetsu. Mashiro Aojiro. Isetsu Awase. Sayu Atsui. Lezu Shaoji. Rikadu Satu. Ichako Uraraka. Momoyoi Rozu. Lenore Mineta. And so on. Bakugo gritted his teeth as he glared at the blonde that just beat him. Todoroki studied him as well as he tried to comprehend what just happened in the tunnel. He was sure of himself that he was in second place and Naruto was in fourth, but as he was about to exit the tunnel, a flash of yellow lights propelled in front of them and exited the tunnel first. When they exited the tunnel he saw a glare from the blonde in front of him. As if he was warning both Todoroki and Bakugo to stay quiet before he smiled at them. "Uzumaki Naruto, just what are you?" Todoroki questioned as he listened to Midnight announce the second contest. Now the top 42 contestants have earned the right to proceed to the post-preliminaries. From here on now go all out because the most prestigious hero companies will be looking. Midnight exclaimed as the roar of the crowd shook the stadium to life. Now then, what could be the next event? Midnight turned to see the screen behind her that began flashing random battles at lightning speed. "I already know what it will be, the suspense is killing me, what could it be you say? Well here it is at last." She whipped the stage and the screen blinked. Human cavalry battle. The students wondered and whispered among themselves trying to figure how it would work. A human cavalry battle is something for a team not for individuals. "How will it work?" questioned Atsui. Midnight grinned, "You will need to form teams of 2 to 4 of your choosing and form a horseback configuration. The same rules apply as a normal human cavalry battle. You take away their headbands while you protect yours. But the twist is you each have a point value based on your performance on the race. So if it is anything similar to the entrance exam, everyone will receive a different point," spoke Satu to the others. "Don't say what I was going to say before I can," exclaimed Midnight to the students, shutting them all up with a comical face. "But yes, that is right. The number of points depends where you placed, for example, 42nd will be 5 points. 41st would receive 10 points and so on going forwards." Now here is the real juicy one. First place is worth 10 million points. Deku froze at his spot. He felt the evil glare from all his friends and classmates. He was the prime target for the second stage and he had to make a team, which would be difficult to do since it is easier to steal other headbands than to protect it. The glares were different from when he was in middle school. With dumb luck he landed on the top spot for a brief moment, but now he feels the pressure of being number one just like All Might as he looked up at him. Up in the stands where the teachers were located, All Might looked at his favorite pupil with concern. You've reached that understanding of what it's like quite quickly, my boy. Those who reach the top merely encounter fresh new hardships, and the kids who have enrolled here will hear it countless of times. Plus ultra. Midnight motivated the students in front of her. The time limit for the second stage is 15 minutes and the top 4 teams advance. The point value of the headband will equal the total from each member of the team. The one to wear the headband will be the horse rider. You cannot wear the headband anywhere else but the neck and above. The more headbands you take the more demanding it is to keep control. Now listen to this, even your team loses its headband or the team's crumbles, you are still not out of the game as you can steal one back. Momo deducted alongside Naruto, so that means that with 42 contestants, there should be at least 10 teams on the field at all time. Yeah, and even if your team loses the headband, you can still recover and move on to the next stage, Naruto continued. Midnight got the attention of the students, quirks are allowed of course, but you aim to purposely harm someone to break up their team, you will be ejected from the game and sit out the remainder of the time. You have 15 minutes to look for a team starting now. Immediately everyone began looking for a team. Talking and chatting was beginning to fill the stage as they exchanged quirk information. However, it seems that both courses were divided. They chose to look for someone they are familiar with. We should team up Naruto-kun, Momo said instantly since she knew him well and knew he can defend himself properly. Yeah, we both know each other and your quirk is very helpful, he grinned before continuing, however I think we should team up with 2 more at least. It'll be easier like that. Momo agreed before she heard behind her, Naruto. She turned to see Todoroki looking at the blonde with curiosity and back at Naruto, I'll be right back Momo-chan. They both walked away from the rest of the students where they would not be overheard. Once they were a good distance Todoroki spoke, back then in the tunnel, what did you do? Naruto knew what he meant, it is something you can't understand yet, no one can. If you had that kind of power, why didn't you use it since the beginning? You could have easily won the race. I have my reasons. Probably the same goes to you. I only sense you were using half of your strength during the race. You could have easily stopped Deku from winning the race and gotten first. Both of them stood quietly, I want you in my team. Naruto looked at him with a surprised look, if you want me you have to get Momo-chan too. Fine. I was going to ask her to join as well. He turned and went to find the last member of the team. Todoroki the silver-haired teen paused as Naruto called him, promise me you won't tell anyone. A moment passed before the other teen answered, it's not me you should worry about. Bakugo tends to have a big mouth. Naruto nodded before jogging back to Momo. He informed her that Todoroki wanted them in his team and went to where he was. They saw him talking to Iida who only nodded and they assumed he was the last member of the team. They were correct when he bowed to them and offered his service to win the second game. Todoroki began to form the setup immediately, Iida you are going to be the front as your speed is going to help us. Naruto I want you to be on my left and Yaoi Rozu on the right. You two are going to be my defenders. Your clones should keep other teams away and Yaoi Rozu's ability to create items will help us defend with objects. I'll be the horse rider since my ice could protect all of us just in case. The 3 nodded and were interrupted by Deku who called Iida for a moment. How can I help you Midoriya-kun? Iida spoke calmly. Will you be on our team? Asked Deku with high hopes as he stared at his friend in front of him. Behind him were already Hatsume and Ichako, with your speed, your Rocket-chan's zero gravity and Hatsume-san's tech we would be untouchable. Iida stared at him. I see that is an excellent idea Midoriya-kun I expect no less of you, but I already have a team. Deku saw past him and saw Todoroki, Yaoi Rozu and Naruto looking at them, if I want to be a great hero like my brother, I have to face my greatest rival, and that is you. Todoroki and Bakugo aren't the only ones you should be worried about. Good luck in the second stage, I'll be aiming for you. Deku was now worried, who could help me that is also a good defense and offense at the same time. Out of all the classmates, whose quirk can help me the most? That is when a light bulb went on inside his head. I know who. Team points. Team Midoriya. Izuku, Ichako, Hatsume, Tokoyami equals 10 million P. Team Bakugo. Bakugo. Kirishima. Ishido. 0 equals 650 P. Team Todoroki. Todoroki. Naruto. Iida. Momo equals 720 P. Team Shinso. Shinso. Shoda. Aoyama. Ejiro equals 280 P. Team Mineta. Mienta. Atsui. Shoji equals 405p. Team Tetsutetsu. Tetsutetsu. Shiozaki. Juzo. Awase. 685p. Team Kendo. Kendo. Yanagi. Komori. Tokage equals 205p. Team Hagakure. Hagakure. Jiro. Kaminari. Sato equals 345p. Team Kadai. Kadai. Bondo. Kota equals 255p. Team Rin. Rin. Shishida equals 115p. Team Monoma. Monoma. Tsuburaba. Kabara. Kawaro equals 285p. Team Tsunatori. Tsunatori. Kamakiri. 60p. With all teams ready, Midnight smirked and the countdown began. All eyes set on Team Midoriya and his 10 million points and safe sure you'll be going to the finals. The fans were waiting with anticipation as the numbers on the screen began its final 3 numbers. 3. 2. 1. Begin. Immediately all team headed for Midoriya and without a moment's hesitation began flying off the ground thanks to Hatsume's jetpack and the whole team being lightened by Ichako's quirk. Jiro threw her earjacks to them only to be blocked by Dark Shadow. They flew above every team to the other corner and landed with ease thanks to the boots Hatsume made. Amazing Hatsume-san. Your babies are amazing. He complimented the girl with excitement as the other girl blushed with a grin. The brunette mumbled to herself, only because I made them lighter. On another part of the stage, Monoma had acquired Team Hakagure's headband and was wiggling it in his finger before placing it on his neck. Team Monoma was one of 2 teams stealing headbands, which was much easier when everyone was distracted trying to steal the 10 million point headbands. One of Ichako's feet got stuck to something on the ground. Midoriya looked and realized it was one of Minetta's balls, but he looked to see where he was. He only saw Shoji going at him at full speed by himself. He had a type of dome on his back made of his body before a tongue came whipping at him, giving Deku moments to dodge it and hitting the team that was sneaking up on Midoriya. I expected no less from you, Midoriya, the voice of Atsui and Mineta came from Shoji's back. Before being reached, Ichako loosened her foot from the ball and the team flew up dodging the trio barely, but only to be targeted by Bakugo, who was propelling himself with his quirk and aiming at Deku. "No, where to go, shithead," he exclaimed as he tried blasting the team down but was blacked by Dark Shadow once again. This surprised Bakugo before being whipped back by Siro's tape and landing on top of his team. "Nice catch, Siro," Kirishima exclaimed. He detached himself from the horse. "Is that even allowed?" Midnight gave the students a thumbs up. "Yes it is. The rider just can't plant his feet on the ground." The crowds roared as Bakugo exploited this rule, giving his team a great advantage over others who can't fly. However, the roar died as the points began changing on the screen. Most of Class 1 began turning zeros. Midoriya remained on top of the scoreboard, but Team Monoma jumped to second, followed by Tetsutetsu and Kendo, with Todoroki in 5th place, leaving them out of the finals. On the ground, Monoma had just swiped Bakugo's headband, like taking candy from a baby Class 1A. Bakugo raged and exploded. "What the fuck? You shit for brains, asshole motherfucker, give it back. I'll kill you. You guys from Class 1 are really dense." The minute Midnight called the first event preliminaries. "Don't you think they were going to weed out the weakest answers in a sequence of events? Think about it, the race was a perfect opportunity to observe all the quirks and students from the other classes. All you had to do was make sure you make the cut." Monoma smiled knowingly. Anybody with a brain would not aim for first, but a safer spot to not tire yourself out. "Monoma, the whole Class 1 have surrounded us," Tsuburaba alerted him. "Well, it is a good plan I came up with, even though you guys don't agree with me. I mean, instead of chasing a temporary spot on top of the summit like dangling carrots over horses who can't see anything else but what is in front of them." With each word Monoma was saying, Bakugo was boiling inside and every word he said was pissing him off more. "Come to think of it, you were already famous, weren't you? You're the victim of the sludge monster incident. Why don't you tell me about next time and how you are attacked by villains once a year?" With that, Team Monoma turned around and left. "Kirishima, change of plans. First we're going to kill these shitheads and send them to an early grave, then we're going for Deku and the 10 million points." "Dude, you have to be calm and think about the situation," warned Kirishima. "I am totally calm," roared Bakugo, trembling with anger before his team rushed at the primary target for the moment. Before they reached them, Monoma blasted Bakugo with his own quirk. "This is really a nice quirk," before touching the Kirishima's head and blocked Bakugo's counter-attack with the hardened quirk. "By quirk? Are they copying us?" The redhead spoke. Monoma's team were met by another team, Team Kadai, who threw cement at Bakugo's team that quickly dried and cemented them on the ground. "I can dissolve it with my acid." Ashido did as she stated and waited for the cement to erode. "Please don't be mad. After all, brought this on yourself when you threw gasoline to the fire, remember?" "What did you say earlier?" Anyways, take a nice rest, Monoma waved off with his devilish smile. Bakugo exploded off his horse group and went flying to Monoma. The calm blonde quickly copied the quirk of his friend and made solid air, creating a barrier that Bakugo barely grabbed a hold to. Confident that the quirk would hold, he turned his back to Bakugo, which pissed him off even more. With a strong right-hand explosion, he broke through the glass and grabbed 2 of the headbands before using his left one and grabbed the remaining headbands, leaving Monoma with 0 points. Zero quickly grabbed him again with his tape and brought him back to the group who had escaped from the cement trap. "Way to go, Bakugo," yelled Kirishima. "Now let's go for the 10 million points." Bakugo yelled and looked for Deku on the other side, being cornered of by Team Todoroki. The 2 teams stared off in a corner of the stage. Todoroki had acquired 2 other headbands and placed on his next before creating an ice barrier that other team can't penetrate, leaving them alone with limited space. To make matters worse, the jetpack broke down, leaving them on the ground now. With less than a minute to go, Midoriya was doing everything to keep his 10 million points because the dreams of his teammates were on the line. "Naruto, send clones and distract them so we can the headband away," ordered Todoroki. The ninja did as he was told and summoned 3 clones and sprinted to Team Midoriya, only to be met by Dark Shadow. The being attacked them, dispelling all of them. "As long as they have Dark Shadow, we can't get near them," spoke Momo. "Naruto-kun," Iida spoke, "when Dark Shadow hit you, did you feel it?" "Yeah, it did. It takes physical attacks to dispel my clones," the blonde replied. "Do you think you can grab it and restrain it for a moment?" Iida asked once again as his legs began revving. "Yeah, I should be able to," he smirked as he created more clones. "Todoroki, make sure you grab the headband, for after this I'll be useless to you. Naruto, send your clones now." "You got it." The 3 more clones ran to the opposing team. One of them created a Rasengan and smashed to the ground, creating a smoke bomb. In the confusion, Naruto was able to grab and pin Dark Shadow to the ground. Midoriya wasn't able to process what happened next. "Take it, Todoroki." Reciprocating burst was all he heard before, in midst of a smoke team, Todoroki appeared and in slow motion was able to grab a hold to Deku's headband. None of them knew what happened. In incredible speed, they moved from point A to point B within nanoseconds. Smoke came out of Iida's engine legs. Midoriya turned around and with a look of disbelief saw the 10 million point headband in Todoroki's hand. "I can forcibly rev up my torque to explosive proportions if need to be, but a drawback is that I suffer from engine stall and cannot move for a certain period of time. That IT back," Midoriya shouted as his team turned to face a point of no return. Naruto summoned clones around the team to protect them and give them time for Iida. 30 seconds left. "Those clones are time-consuming, Midoriya," Tokoyami exclaimed, only to be pushed forwards by Ichako. "We cannot give up, guys," she yelled. Izuku looked at them and knew she was right. They placed their trust with him, he wasn't going to let them down. 20 seconds. Bakugo came flying in as he targeted Deku, but realized he didn't have the headband anymore. "Half and half, bastard, and the fox face has it." 10 seconds. "Crap, I am not going to make it in time, and those clones aren't helping," thought Izuku. "Ichako, make me lighter." The brunette looked at him but did as she was told. She tagged him and Midoriya leapt forwards. 5 seconds. He turned around and with his pinky used one for all and blasted himself to Team Todoroki. 4. Bakugo was getting closer as well as he stretched his arm. 3. Midoriya saw the headbands and grabbed 2 of them. 2. 1. Time's up. Midoriya hit the ice behind them after the clock ran out. He picked up his arm and the headbands in his grip. 405p and 345p. The crowd erupted and stood in standing ovation in the events that happened in the last moments of the cavalry battle, giving the well-deserved applause to the students of UA. Everyone stared at the screen that displayed the 4 top teams. Team Todoroki, Team Bakugo, Team Midoriya, and Team Shinso. Chapter 6. The stadium erupted as the first one-on-one fight began. It was Midoriya against Shinsu, a suspicious-looking character that Naruto took note of. Shinsu had surprised the whole stadium as he sneaked himself and his team past the cavalry battle without anyone noticing. Above that, 2 of his teammates refused to participate because they failed to recall what had happened in those 15 minutes. Naruto saw Ajuru talking with Midoriya before the match started, but he paid no attention to that as he was focusing on his opponent. The girl he was going against had green hair almost like vines and was timid looking. She reminded him of Hinata. Then he remembered what happened that fateful night. While he was here in a tournament living a normal life, the people in his world was mourning and suffering the effects of the 4th Great Ninja War. He cringed. Doing this tournament is just a small step to getting back. His attention was brought back to the fight. Midoriya was running full speed and then out of nowhere he stopped. Shinsu said some words to him and the green-haired teen turned and started walking towards the locker room. "Damn it. Even after I warned him about his quirk he still fell for it, Ajiru exclaimed in the background. That boy is using a mind control technique Naruto, Kurama's voice resonated in his head. Yeah, and I'm guessing that is how he advanced without anyone noticing. Let's see how Deku gets out of this one, replied Naruto. Mere steps before Midoriya walked out of bounds, a small burst happened in his right hand and was about to stop himself. He turned to face the purple-haired teen who was shocked to see anyone break through his mind control. They both started running to each other and it began a slugface with exchanges of blow. The human broke through the mind control by inflicting self-pain. He has guts, reminds me of you Naruto. Yeah, he won't give up. He has something to exclaim to the world, he grinned before he saw Deku using an over-the-shoulder toss to send Shinsu out of bounds and ending the match. That purple-haired teen could have been troublesome if he advanced to face you Naruto. If you were dumb enough to get caught, I wouldn't have saved you for rushing in, the fox taunted. Before Naruto continued, Momo walked up to him grabbing his attention, ready Naruto-kun. The blonde blinked before he flashed her a foxy grin, yeah Dadabayo. The brunette smiled at him, good luck. I know you'll win. Naruto stood up and went to the locker room to prep himself for his fight. He had no idea what her quirk was since she didn't show it in the other two contests, so he had to plan something. The only thing he knew was that she had a faint smell of earth. He went to the tunnel and saw the light from the outside. For a mere split second, he recalled his Chunin exam and he got excited and fist pumped the air, alright. Let's do this. As he stepped outside, he saw that his opponent was already waiting for him. He heard the crowd around him, but as he stepped into the ring he silenced them all, focusing on the green-haired girl in front of him. Uzumaki Naruto vs Shiozaki Ibara. Let the bloodshed and killing begin. President Mick yelled throughout the stadium before being interrupted by said girl. Excuse me, I don't want to kill anyone. She said timidly as Mick chuckled and apologized for overreacting. Anyways, begin. The blonde chuckled before getting serious. He stared the girl down and remembered what his sensei would do. Remember Naruto, if you don't know anything about your opponent, try using any method to gather intel before heading in. Intel is as much as important as a weapon because you are able to plan and strategize for the best possible method to succeed in your mission. The silver-haired masked ninja smiled, you have an abundance of clones, try using them first before barging in hot-headed. It's a tactic that most elite shinobi use before even heading out. Thank you Kakashi-sensei. Naruto quickly performed his trademark jutsu and summoned two clones who began sprinting towards the girl. The bar immediately sparring into action using her quirk. The ring began to shake before giant roots began emerging from the ground and hitting both clones away. She is able to manipulate nature, he said, nothing I haven't faced before with Madara. Naruto began sprinting and dodging as more vines came towards his direction. He noticed that Ibara hasn't moved at all, just commanding her vines and roots, just like Shikamaru with his shadows. Naruto's face lit up and smiled. He summoned two more clones and shuffled among them before two began running towards her and the other one staying behind. Their vines were tearing the ring up and causing a lot of smoke, blocking most of the views. As both Narutos were within reach of her, she lashed out all the roots she could, knocking both of them out and hearing the puffs of smoke of his clones, that they were gone. It grew silent in the stadium as they waited the aftermath. The dust cleared slowly to reveal one of the clones that was close to her was the actual Naruto. President Mick's voice roared, incredible, Uzumaki Naruto is down. Midnight was about to call the match before she felt the ground below them move a bit. The Bara, confused, looked back at the spot where the far Naruto was before she looked down. Out of nowhere, a fist popped from the ground and hitting her straight in the jaw and sending her flying backwards out of bounds. The crowd were stunned. Boy. He was out of bounds. Yelled Monoma from the stands, he clearly touched the ground that is not part of the ring. Midnight didn't know what to call because technically the kid in the stands was right. She got closer to the ring before she saw Naruto smile at her and turning to Monoma and giving him a thumbs up and puffed into smoke. The clone. President Mick, this kid just fooled us all. The Naruto that was knocked out stood up and dusted himself off before grinning at the female judge. She smiled back at him, the real Naruto Uzumaki did not step out of bounds. Therefore he is the winner. The heroes that were in the stands and watching at home were appalled by this blonde ninja. They stood up and applauded his match, and the crowd burst into life once again after the confusion left the stadium. All Might clapped slowly and smiled, young Naruto, you assessed the situation and verified the quirks of your opponent. You planned 2 steps ahead of them and you already knew you were coming out victorious. You are already acting and thinking like a hero. Well done Naruto, you are truly amazing. The blonde kid headed towards the girl and extended his hand to help her. She smiled and accepted it, I'm sorry for hitting you. That quirk of yours is truly amazing. Once you get stronger you'll probably unstoppable, believe it. The Bara blushed before smiling, thank you Naruto-san. It was a pleasure fighting with you. Momo saw from the stands and glared as the teens in the ring were chatting, "Are you okay, yeah Momo?" The brunette blinked before turning to see Ochako talking to her. "Yes, I am fine, why you ask?" "Well, it's because you were glaring at Naruto-kun and Ibara-san. Are you jealous?" Uraraka teased. The other girls blushed madly before denying everything. "Shouldn't you be focusing on your match with Bakuku-san?" The other brunette rubbed her hand behind her head. "Yeah, you're probably right." Momo saw her sit down and talk with Izuku and Iida before turning to see the two on the ground heading towards the tunnel. She sighed, "Why did I do that? X." The next match was Todoroki vs Zero, which ended with the ice user freezing half of the stadium, along with the tape user in mere seconds. When he was announced the victor, he let the Zero lose before apologizing without any feelings and walking back to the locker room. Followed by that was Iida vs Mei, which resulted in a 20-minute advertisement produced by Mei Harem at the expense of the engine user. She proudly displayed every gadget she had to the businesses present and at home watching the tournament. The match, if you can call it one, finally ended when Mei stepped out of bounds willingly. Iida was mad at the pink-haired girl, who paid no mind to him as her mission was accomplished. Next was Kirishima vs Tetsutetsu that ended in a draw after both displaying valiantly each other's quirk until they both knocked each other out. Midnight stated that winner would be declared by an arm wrestling contest after both students wake up and are healed. Perhaps the match that nobody wanted to see was next, Ochako Uraraka vs Katsuki Bakugo. Most of them knew the result before it even started. With the exception of Izuku and Iida who cheered the brunette to the finish, everyone knew the Bakugo would come out victorious. Did Ochako surprised everyone? Yes, she did by displaying guts, intelligence, and persistence to see out a plan she stared since the match began. Unfortunately, she was going out against one of the top, if not, the top student in the first year who was an all-natural talent. Naruto saw the full extent of the other blonde and knew there was no stopping him from becoming number one. They both stared at each other as he sat once again in the stands waiting for his next opponent. Naruto then saw Ochako walking like nothing as she sat down once again in her seat smiling. He grinned and approached her extending his fist to her, "Respect." The brunette smiled and fist bumped him back. The exchange was seen by everyone including Momo who was preparing for her match against. She glared before turning away blushing, "By God, I am jealous." "Good luck Momo-chan," she heard behind her. She didn't turn in cause her face was red. "Thank you Naruto-kun. I'm off then." And she bolted out leaving the blonde confused before he shook it off and saw her approach the ring. This match got his interest because it was to stop students, Yayoi Rozu Momo vs Tokoyami Fumikage. In paper they almost cancel each other out, but in an actual fight that doesn't matter. He saw his friend prepare as the match began and immediately Fumikage used his dark shadow to prevent her to make anything to attack. Continuous and precise strikes stunned the crowd including Naruto. Momo was confused as to why Fumikage stopped attacking before she realized she was knocked out of bonds in rapid fashion. Naruto frowned before going down to the tunnel. He waited for her and saw her broken. He grabbed her arm to stop her, but she shook it off and continued to the locker room. The blonde looked at his friend slam the door from the locker room. He sighed before heading back to the stands. She needs to cool off Naruto. Just let her be for today. This was very important to her. Naruto nodded, she's strong. It was just the wrong opponent to face. The first round ended and all the victors were announced. Midoriya, Todoroki, Naruto, Kirishima after he beat the steel user in the arm wrestling contest, Iida, Bakugo, Fumikage, and Ishido, who beat Aoyama easily. The second round matches were announced and it was declared that Midoriya will face Todoroki, Naruto vs Iida, Bakugo vs Kirishima, and Tokoyami vs Ishido. Izuku faced Todoroki in the stage. Both pupils of the number 1 and 2 heroes in the world. One was an all-natural talent and the other was a hard-working hero to be. Naruto stared at both of them with excitement. He knew what Todoroki was capable of, but he only saw a brief power from Deku in the cavalry battle. The match began with Todoroki trying to freeze Deku just like Zero, but the all-for-one user sacrificed one of his fingers to smash the ice away surprising Todoroki. Ever the confident the ice user continued his assault and tried freezing his opponent again who responded the same way. "So Todoroki is just going to keep trying to freeze him and make him use all his fingers," spoke Naruto. After all of Deku's fingers were busted, Todoroki went for the win and glided his way with his ice towards the green-haired teen, who was not afraid to use another finger again. After the silver-haired teen circled Midoriya, he froze Deku's leg and tried to knock him out, only to be blasted off again when Deku pounced his thumb against his cheek and used the pressure for another smash, sending Todoroki back. Naruto and Bakugo noticed Todoroki slowing down and with frost on his face. They both came to the same conclusion, he is not using his full power. That's when they heard Deku speak. The words that resonated with everyone in the stadium, everyone is using all their power and here you are just using half. I don't know what problems you have with your dad, but you are not him. You are you. Now come at me with all your strength. He yelled, causing something to wake up from his opponent. The fire that was inside him raged and immediately melted any frost on his body and warmed it up to his maximum potential. There was a smile on his face. Naruto saw Endeavor react to his son but paid no attention to him. His interest as well as everyone was at a full-power Todoroki. His blood raced. They both launched at each other with full strength. Deku focused his one for all in his right hand and Todoroki's full-powered flame in his right. Cementus along with Midnight tried to stop both of them to no avail. The sheer power rivaled that of a small explosion, sending steam and debris everywhere. Naruto, Deku, you are just like me. You bring out the best out of everyone. I want to fight you. The smoke cleared and displayed the result that could rival an asteroid crater. Against the wall was Midoriya unconscious, and in the ring saved by his own ice was Todoroki knocked out as well. Winner Shoto Todoroki. The crowd erupted at the match that they just witnessed. They were just first-year students, but they are displaying amazing sources of strength and willpower. Any hero would be lucky to have them as sidekicks. X. Up next, Iida vs Uzumaki Naruto. Begin. The blonde and the raved-haired teen stared off. In his base form he wasn't going to keep up with him. He can't outspeed him. He already knew what to do. He heard his legs revving and summoned two clones. Alright boys, keep him off me. Both clones looked at their boss and grinned as they saw him sit down cross-legged and close his eyes. Iida was confused, but he knew Naruto was up to something. He heard tell his clones to buy him time, so he needs to this quick before Naruto gets what he wants. He began to accelerate and run at him at high speed, only to have one of the clones hit the ground in front of him with a blue sphere he called Rasengan. He had to jump back as this unbalanced him, well thought Naruto. But you have to do better than that. The engine in his legs revved louder and in a blink of an eye, Iida punched a clone in the stomach, turning him into smoke. The other clones was stunned and dodged an attack from the raven-haired teen. Those clones are useful, Naruto, but with a single hit they go away. He told the real Naruto, who just kept sitting there meditating. His legs revved once again, and they can't keep up with me, Naruto. He aimed a kick at the clone only for him to miss when Naruto jumped over him and grabbed him by the collar to send him flying back. Speed isn't everything, Iida. I know a guy who is super fast, but his strength is incomparable to yours, spoke the clone as he got ready to attack. The clone formed another clone and performed the Rasengan and smashed it to the ground as Iida got close to the real Naruto. This time, however, engine user jumped and kicked the clone next to him and turned him into smoke. True, but I know you are not as smart as I am, Naruto-kun. That won't work against me twice. The clone gritted his teeth before he rushed Iida to knock him out of bounds, only to be thrown out with his own momentum. Game over, Naruto-kun, Iida said as he revved his engine to use his special technique so the ninja couldn't react to him. Iida. The clone yelled. The engine user turned to face him as he was preparing his last recipro burst. The clone smirked, Warwick no jutsu. A huge puff of smoke happened and Iida could see a female outline through it. As the smoke became less and less dense, Iida became turning redder. YSSSS. A familiar voice could be heard from the stands before being silenced. A beautiful slim and busty blonde appeared in front of the engine user. She had no clothing on except for the smoke covering her most private areas. The girl had Naruto's whisker marks, two pigtail reaching her waist. A youthful appearance. Iida froze and Kamokli blushed madly. Cat whistles were heard from the stadium with Mineta's voice being muffled by Tsuyu. "Oh Iida-kun," the clone said seductively before her smile turned into a smirk, "game over." Shed winked and blew him a kiss before disappearing. Remembering where he was, Iida turned to see Naruto still meditating and began his attack, recipro burst. At high speed and with all the momentum he cocked his fist back and threw a punch as he drew nearer and nearer to the blonde. Mere inches away from Naruto's face, to Iida's surprise, his fist is caught by the blonde himself. In disbelief, Iida stared at the hand in front of him before facing Naruto. His eyes slowly opened to reveal orange markings and golden frog pupils. This is Sage Mode. Naruto without getting up threw Iida over his head and out of bounds. Iida Tenya is out of bounds. Winner Uzumaki Naruto. Proclaimed Midnight, amazed at the young teen in front of him. Those eyes grew her curiosity before they turned back to his normal blue and he got up. Amazing. Uzumaki Naruto with unbelievable reflexes defeated Iida Tenya. What can't this kid do? Naruto smiled and turned to his friends in his stands and gave them a thumbs up as the crowd roared around him. Back in the locker room, Naruto was sitting down by himself having a conversation with Kurama. "You sensed it, didn't you?" spoke the nine-tailed fox. "Yeah. When I entered Sage Mode I could barely sense him. His chakra is familiar though. Almost as if I have met him before. Since you could sense him, he could have sensed you to Naruto. At this point you should just draw him out." "I think you are right, Kurama," replied Naruto. Chapter 7. Naruto stood in front of one his proclaimed rivals for the tournament, Todoroki Shota. Both of them were ready to fight after 2 battles had passed between them. Ashido was defeated easily by Fumikage and Dark Shadow, hardly putting up a fight. Bakugo defeated Kirishima after taking most of the oxygen away from the boy with a hardened quirk and making him powerless against Blonde. This set up the semifinals between Todoroki against Naruto and Bakugo vs Fumikage. Prior to the match, Naruto ran into Endeavor, the number 2 hero, behind All Might and Todoroki's father. The tall man glanced at the ninja before proclaiming that Naruto was just a stepping stone for his son, now that he has accepted his flames. The negative energy around that man caused Naruto frown. He is nothing compared to Dad. Even though I only saw him brief, I could sense his pride he had for me, yet endeavor for his son is nothing like that. It was as if he is using him for something else. Don't think about it too hard, Naruto, focus on the match ahead. That is your priority, Kurama spoke and made Naruto nod. His thoughts came back thanks to the noise the crowd was making as Lady Midnight began the match. He saw at the corner Endeavor's muscular figure and flames watching it with a lot of ambition. Todoroki took notice of this before he began his opening attack trying to freeze the stadium once again. As the ice began to collect and build, Naruto formed a Rasengan and destroyed the ice that was aimed at him with lightning speed. Both teams stared at one another before Naruto spoke, "That is not going to work on me, Todoroki." "I suppose not," replied the silver-haired ninja before forming a blunt object that was very massive and began gliding towards him. The blonde was able to dodge a swing from the ice maker before being pushed back once again by another ice wall, this time forming a clone to throw him in the air, dodging the attack. Naruto landed on his feet before applying chakra to them and began sprinting towards the hero in the making. He tried to send him flying with a kick but was blocked by an ice shield. Todoroki took this time to attempt to freeze Naruto's legs, only to miss by inches as Naruto pushed of the ice shield Todoroki held. The floor was soon covered by ice, Naruto was still applying chakra to his feet to counter the slippery surface. The ice maker began to get close to Naruto for another attempt to freeze him only to be dropkicked back by the ninja. As Todoroki fell back and Naruto was landing from his dropkick, the ice maker began to form an ice ceiling connected to a thin pillar on top of the ninja, catching the blonde off guard and curious at his attack. With a swift ice punch, Todoroki broke the pillar and made the ceiling unstable and falling to pieces on top of the ninja. From left to right, Naruto began dodging his attack, taking his focus off Todoroki. He had grasped his right arm, freezing it. He punched the silver-haired teen back before jumping back to safety. "Shit," the blonde cursed, feeling the ice reach his bone, "that's going to take while to thaw out. I'm already on a kit, just keep dodging that boy." "I have severely underestimated his combat battle," Kurama complimented. Naruto looked up to see Todoroki's face began covering in frost. Curious at the ice maker, he questioned, "Where are your flames?" He made the ice maker flinch, "I'm still uncertain whether I should use them or not. They'd make you stronger. With you fire and ice, you would be unstoppable. You already used it once against Deku, why not use it now?" "He made me feel different." Todoroki looked at Deku in the stands. He was watching intensely at both of them, keeping notes. His attention switched to his father, looking at him with a small grin. "These flames have brought nothing but pain. Deku made me feel different in a way that it was okay to use them because they were my flames. Not his." Naruto stared at the teen in front of him with frost on his face and then to the stands where Endeavor was. "So that's what he meant," Naruto whispered before looking back at Todoroki, who had a lost face in his look. "Boy. Todoroki." Naruto yelled, startling the ice maker. He picked up his frozen arm and pointed at Todoroki before the ice broke, revealing a taunting gesture, bending his hand back and forwards, "Come and get me." This angered the silver-haired teen, "Are you taunting my ice? I will become the strongest without using his power. I will become the hero he never was." All this time Todoroki was flailing ice wall after ice wall towards the ninja, he was breaking them as fast as he could. "I will inspire young heroes unlike him. I will beat you and establish myself without his flames. Only my mother's ice." With this last one he gave it all, he had not giving Naruto time to react, taking him full under the ice wall. The crowd stood stunned and half frozen by the cold emitted from all the ice. Todoroki panted as he was out of breath and half of his face covered in frost, the left side still remained visible. Heroes were looking at the young teen with awe, the raw strength at half his power blew them away. Endeavor frowned angrily, Shota had rejected his flames once again. He then looked at the spot where the blonde ninja laid frozen and cursed before leaving the arena in disgust. The students were shocked to see Naruto frozen solid before them and then at Todoroki. Bakugo looked with a small surprised look before brushing it. The one that was worried the most was Momo. She looked at the frozen spot as well. She remembered Naruto trying to cheer her up only for her to brush him away. She looked down with regret and tears. The Todoroki has frozen Naruto completely. shouted Mick from the commentator's booth, such raw power. He froze the promising Naruto in a blink of an eye. Lady Midnight stared at the Todoroki, you can remove the ice, correct? Todoroki nodded, I only froze the areas around him. I just didn't want to see his face right now. Midnight nodded and was stepping towards the middle of the arena, Uzumaki Naruto has been. The ice began to tremble. Midnight looked at the spot where Naruto was. Todoroki froze and turned to look in disbelief. He faintly saw an orange light getting bigger and bigger. The crowd began to whisper in disbelief as well. The ice began to crack slowly from the top. A small crack began to get bigger, spreading like a spiderweb before being blown away with a tremendous heat radiating from a blinding orange light. Naruto stood in his spot calmly without any features in his face. The crowd began to cheer and roar, while some stayed in awe at the beautiful light emanating from the stage. The heroes were blown back again at how he broke from the ice. The students cheered and Bakugo opened his eyes as he felt the power radiating from Naruto. It's that same light. Momo looked at her friend in awe, how is he doing that? Before her shock turned into a smile, Naruto, you idiot. You had me worried. Back in the stage, both teams were how they began staring at each other. Naruto's Kyuubi mode glowed in all its glory. Todoroki began to notice the ice around them melting away along with his frost, this warmth. Just what are you, Uzumaki Naruto? Spoke Todoroki in disbelief. I am my father and mother's son. He spoke proudly, shocking the teen in front of him, the day I was born my mom and dad died protecting me. My village was under attack by a maniac and set loose a demon to wreck the hidden leaf. It was the same demon that was inside my mom, for she had to bear the burden of carrying the village's most powerful weapon, a tailed beast. Todoroki just kept listening along with the crowd. While giving birth to me, they were found by the maniac who figured out that during birth, the seals placed on Jinchurikis weakened, allowing him to extract the nine-tailed fox. He looked at where Endeavor stood. My parents sacrificed themselves to save me and the village from the nine tails by putting the beast inside me with a seal, making me a Jinchuriki in the process. The gasps in the arena echoed in shock. As I grew up, I was labeled a demon child thanks to being a Jinchuriki. I had no friends growing up. I had no immediate family members. I barely had a place to live. My only source of food was instant ramen, he chuckled. That would indicate why loves ramen, Momo whispered to herself. Only a handful of people befriended me at that time. The Hokage, the people who gave me ramen, and my homeroom teacher. Even though he was a bore, I deserved most of the punishment, Naruto smiled. My dream is to become the Hokage like my hero, my dad. What is the point to all this? Todoroki spoke. This power came from the same beast who killed my mom and dad. Naruto stated proudly and shocked the whole arena. The same one who labeled me a demon child and denied me a proper life. This power came from accepting the hate inside my tailed beast and using it to protect the ones I care about, a life lesson I learned early in life. I befriended Kurama and together we defeated gods in the ninja world. Todoroki, the ice and fire quirk you have don't belong to your parents. It belongs to you. Naruto claimed with a smile, the same way this power is mine now. However, it is up to me to how I use it. I can easily level this place to the ground, but that is not who I am. I am a ninja from the hidden leaf. We protect our comrades. My dream is still to become Hokage and protect everyone. Naruto shifted back to a fighting stance. This is my full power, Todoroki. Show me yours. Todoroki smiled and remembered his mom in better times. You are right, Naruto. These are my quirks, not my parents. Thank you for making me realize it. The flame on his left began to emerge, while ice covered his right. Before he could do anything, Naruto was already next to him with a miniature Rasengan on the ice part of his body. Naruto whispered on his ear, train hard and there will be no one who could stop you. You are amazing, Todoroki, already a better man than your father. He proceeded to send him away with the Rasengan, sending him out of bounds. Todoroki Shoda is out of bounds. Winner Uzumaki Naruto. Lady Midnight proclaimed. The crowd slowly began to clap before a roar filled the arena. Naruto turned off his Kyuubi mode and walked towards Todoroki, who still laid on the floor in disbelief. Naruto smiled and offering him a hand. Todoroki smiled and reached for it. You are already a hero, Naruto. Thank you for an amazing match. I will take your words to heart and train to become a great hero. That is more like it. Naruto grinned as both of them walked to the stage. As they reached the tunnel, they were met by Momo. Todoroki looked at Naruto and smiled before bowing himself away, leaving the pair alone. Momo-chan, Naruto began to start before being enveloped by a bone-crushing hug. Ubaka. You had me worried there. I thought you were frozen solid. Naruto smiled before hugging her back. It takes more than ice to get rid of me. Sorry for making you worry. Was everything you said true? About your parents and the demon? She asked, looking up at him. Yeah, maybe one day you'll meet him. He has been impressed by you. He grinned, making her blush. About a while ago, I want to apologize. I know you were trying to cheer me up, but I was more disappointed by myself. Seeing you compliment your Uraraka-san made me think you wouldn't be proud of me for how fast I was defeated. I would never be disappointed at you, Momo-chan. I am always proud of you no matter what you do. He smiled, cheering her up, but it was just luck that wasn't on your side. Fumikage is a strong opponent. He also beat Ishido really fast. Now you just have to train to be faster with your quirk and I'll help you no matter what. They heard footsteps behind them. They both broke the embrace, but their hands stayed together as another blonde approached them with a displeased look. He only stared at Naruto and nothing else. I'll see you at the finals. Bring that power of yours too, Bakugo said and continued walking out the tunnel. The pair stared at the teen who walked past them before shrugging it off. Let's go back, shall we? She said before leading the way, neither daring to break their hands apart. In a cafe, sat a man listening to a radio. He had a hood on and dark glasses covering his eyes. He was hearing the festival through the radio, taking sips of the tea in front of him. He felt the familiar chakra of the nine-tailed beast. He heard the story Naruto said to Todoroki. So you are Kushina-san and Yondaime-sama's son, the nine-tailed Jinchuriki of Konohagakure. How interesting. I wonder how he got here. No matter, it is my way back. The waitress approached the man. Would you like to have more tea, sir? The man with a smile, nicely declined and paid the waitress with a large bill. Okay, let me get you your change. As the waitress turned, she heard a small crack before turning to see a note on the table. Keep the change. US. Chapter 8. You could already feel the tension in the air as the two blondes stood in the middle of the stage. One had a brooding face and the other had serious one. The red-eyed blonde had easily disposed his semi-final opponent, Tokoyami in Dark Shadow. The blue-eyed blonde wanted to shut this guy up. One of them was hated for trying to be the best, the other was being loved for his amazing abilities. Both teams were totally opposite of each other. Midnight's heel echoed throughout the stadium because of the eerie silence that filled it. The heroes looked in anticipation as they were in for a show. Most of their friends didn't know who would win, with the exception of couple. The raven-haired woman smirked at the two in front of her. She picked up her hand and let it drop. Begin. Both blondes dashed at each other at incredible speed. Bakugo's explosive speed rivaled that of Naruto's chakra dash. Bakugo tried to land the first hit, firing an explosive punch to his face, only to be blocked by Naruto's left arm as he caught him and threw him over his shoulder. The explosion user regained his balance by blasting the floor as a handspring and went back flying straight to Naruto. He went to punch Naruto's face again only to be blocked. This time, it was Bakugo's turn to surprise Naruto as he grabbed the back of Ninja's head and pushed it towards his incoming knee, connecting with the bridge of his nose. Why are you holding back, bastard? Bakugo yelled as he approached the stunned Naruto. The red-eye blonde aimed his palm to Naruto's side and sent him flying with an explosion. The ninja landed several meters away from Bakugo. Smoke was emitting from his burning suit where the shoulder was missing part of it. The blonde got back to his feet, never picking up his gaze, only to be met with an uppercut from the hero in training. As Naruto was suspended in the air because of the punch, Bakugo roundhouse kicked him in the ribs to send him flying again. Why aren't you attacking? Said the explosion user as he approached the fallen blonde. He kicked him once again to flip him over. Still no response from Naruto as the blonde took another kick before being picked up by the collar of his shirt. Are you mocking me, bastard? He grunted before placing his palm in his stomach before unleashing explosive blast continuously though tamed. X. The crowd began booing at the match before them. They wanted a show, not a mauling. Among their friends, they looked stunned at the events before them. Why isn't Naruto-kun fighting back? Asked Ichako, even I put a fight. This should be no problem to Naruto. Maybe he wasted all his energy with Todoroki, you all saw what he looked like, spoke Kirishima. Perhaps the knee affected him a lot, spoke Shiro. Listening to them made Yaoi Rozu very nervous. She knew Naruto was stronger than Bakugo. She also knows he wouldn't tire himself out just like that. The crowd was in shock as they witnessed pretty much a beating. The sandy blonde only got more pissed that Naruto was not defending himself. Midnight was tempted to stop the fight, but one look from Naruto told her otherwise. What is this kid thinking? She thought, but that look he gave her, he knew what he was doing. So she stood her ground. Why aren't you fighting back, bastard? He picked up Naruto, who had a bruised eye and was bleeding from his mouth. A fight like this is unworthy. He gave another punch only to add an explosion to send him flying back a bit. The crowd's jeers were echoing around the stadium. They did not like this fight. This was not something hero-worthy by both teams. X. Back with the students, Midoriya was looking at the fight. He studied both of them and knew something was going up. He began to note down every observation that was transpiring. Maybe he did used up all his energy with Todoroki. I mean, come on, who would take that beating on purpose? Spoke Kirishima only to be shut down by Todoroki. No, when we fought I had used most of my energy, but I felt he was still holding back. He must be setting up Bakugo for something. Momo overheard the conversation and only waited for what her friend was doing. But the heroes, they looked disturbed with the exception of All Might. He just observed while the other teachers complained about the massacre in front of them. What are you up to, young Uzumaki? Are you trying to send a message? All Might thought. Back in the grounds, Bakugo had kicked once again Naruto to the other side of the stage. He was pissed off to the max. His brooding face told every emotion he was feeling at the moment. This is pathetic, you're pathetic. If you were going to be this, you should have let me fight the half bastard. He would have given me a real fight. Your masters must have sucked ass for you to give up like this. Naruto's eyes opened with anger. He got up and shook everything Bakugo had done to him off. Take that back, you bastard. Bakugo grinned, so now you want to fight and all I had to do was insult your senseis. Naruto was different. He was upset now. A smile of Jiraiya popped in his mind and the blonde remembered what he was aiming to do. He steadied his breath and spoke, you know I had a friend like you. This surprised Bakugo. He was expecting Naruto to go all guns out. Instead he began to talk. He wanted power. He wanted to be strong and did anything to get it. He deserted our village and went rogue. He had a good excuse though. His older brother had killed his entire family and clansmen. His older brother pitied him and left him alive. What does this nonsense have to do with me? Bakugo was getting annoyed. He was my best friend and he was pure talent. He never had to work for his skill, unlike me. However, my masters taught me everything I knew and made me who I am today. They taught all I needed is the guts to never give up. With hard work, I became stronger than my best friend and that ate him up. Don't be like Sasuke. Be better. You have friends who are powerful and strong. Don't belittle them. Bakugo got wide-eyed. Now the blonde he was giving a beating to was lecturing him. His anger was seeping out once again. Learn with them and grow stronger together. If you have someone to protect, there is no limit to your strength and powers. After saying that, Naruto looked and smiled to Momo, who only smiled and blushed a bit. Now, why don't you try getting a hit on me? Naruto taunted. His posture changed. Naruto's body looked relaxed and just waited for him to be attacked. However, he had a look of determination that was ready for anything. Bakugo roared and lunged at Naruto. His punch only managed to hit empty space as Naruto just sidestepped. Bakugo followed the punch with the same knee from the beginning and Naruto managed to block it. Bakugo jumped back and threw an explosive jab only for Naruto to direct the punch to the side and threw explosion user away. Your anger blinds you. Only when you control your emotions would you be able to read my movements. Shut the hell up. Bakugo continued his swings and kicks only to continue missing. Naruto just smiled and continued dodging his attacks with ease. The crowd began to laugh at Bakugo. Now he could not even land a punch on Naruto. So the other kid was just playing with him. Look at him, he can't even find his balance as he is being thrown around. One in the crowd howled. So much for being number one undisputedly. Another voiced followed. Those taunts were beginning to get to Bakugo. His attacks were being more and more careless and easily avoidable. Forget about them. Just focus and control yourself. Anger and hate won't take you anywhere, trust me. Bakugo then smashed the floor. The explosion caused some rocks to be propelled in the sky. As they came down, Bakugo started punching the air behind the rocks with explosion to send them flying to Naruto. Now you're thinking. Naruto smiled and continued dodging with a bit of difficulty. Naruto began moving around Bakugo in a circle, who continued firing him with rocks at rapid speed. Out of nowhere he punched the floor once again, but this time he caused a tremor, causing Naruto to slip. "Got you?" Bakugo exclaimed as a giant boulder began falling and with both hands he exploded the air behind the boulder and sent it flying to Naruto. "Crap," Naruto muttered and his instinct kicked in as he looked upon the boulder, closing the gap between them. X. The boulder smashed on the ground, causing a smokescreen to fill the stage. Bakugo grinned and waited for the results. The crowd held their breath as they as well waited to see if the boulder had made contact or not. The students looked in awe as they saw Bakugo adapt to the situation and coming up with a plan. Midoriya was dribbling in his notebook the attack that his rival used for future reference. "Did he get him?" asked Mineta as even himself got drawn by the fight. "I am not sure. Naruto was dodging everything that was being thrown at him," replied Sai. "What do you think, Momo?" asked Jiru. She was surprised to see a smile on her face. "Just wait and see, Naruto-kun will surprise you," she said without realizing the title she gave her friend. Jiru took notice. X. In the stage, the out-of-breath Bakugo still waited for the air to clear. That boulder was his last effort. He had exhausted his explosive quirk. The whirlwind began clearing the smoke from within. One could hear a faint whooshing sound coming from where Naruto stood. Suddenly the smoke cleared to reveal Naruto's Kyuubi form. The golden aura surrounded him once again as the previous fight. He had a simple Rasengan in his hand. The boulder did not hit anything as it was behind Ninja. Congratulations, you put me in a real hinge there. Naruto said with a serious face. The golden form shining the stadium as the crow wowed. Did you see what happened there? The minute you started thinking, you were able to put me in a spot that forced me to show you my powerful form. We are always learning, Bakugo. That is a lesson my best friend never noticed until the end. Let's become strong together with our friends. Naruto's face lightened up a bit to turn back to a grin, however I never take pity on my opponents. I must end this. With lightning speed that rivaled All Might and Iida, he grabbed and pinned Bakugo to the floor with his Rasengan inches from his face. It's over. Don't ever insult my senseis again. They believed in me and that's why I am strong. Find someone you want to protect and you'll become strong also. But that being said, the Rasengan disappeared and Naruto offered his hand to Bakugo. He took it without second thoughts. I'll try, he said faintly, only for Naruto to hear. Proctor, I give up. Just like that, the epic fight between Naruto and Bakugo finished. Winner. Uzumaki Naruto. Lady Midnight picked his arm up. She turned to face him. I heard every detail there, kid. In my book, you are already a pro hero. The crowd were not disappointed in the final. So many emotions were displayed in the match and the standing ovation echoed throughout the city. Both blondes began walking off the stage to the tunnel where they were met by their friends, with the exception of Iida, who had to take off due to family matters. They were congratulated with cheers and applause, mostly to Naruto. Bakugo just kept walking towards the locker room. The teens just looked at the direction he was walking before Midoriya interrupted them. He just needs some time. I'll go check on him, spoke Ochako, surprising the group, especially Deku. I'll be right back. It's just like Naruto-san said, we need to help each other and grow strong. She said with a slight blush and took off to the direction Bakugo went. Leaving a confused Midoriya behind. The blonde and brunette were walking back to their home. One had a gold medal around his neck and was happy with how the day turned out. Beside him was a smiling girl who only knew one thing. The blonde was probably going to be accepted at the school. So what do you think about what I said earlier? Momo-chan. A smiling Naruto questioned. Well, I think we all have to work together to become strong. I doubt you need us to become stronger, but there is so much you can teach us. Actually, I need you to be strong. What I said to Bakugo at the fight is true. It is my first lesson I learned in my first mission. If you fight to protect those precious around you, no one could stop you. So we are precious to you, Naruto? She asked, blushing again. Yeah, all my friends are precious to me. Especially you. He grinned. And me? Why? She asked curiously. Well, you took me in when I first got here and have helped me so much. There is no possible way I can repay you, but I promise you one thing. If you need me, I'll be there for you. He said, smiling and full of determination. Momo smiled back and nodded, showing him her grace. They both continued chatting about the tournament. They talked about Ochako and Bakugo. Naruto wondered what happened to Iida and that they should check up on him, and all the while they passed by a cafe on their way home. Naruto's body shivered as goosebumps spread throughout his body. Naruto turned to see the cafe just to see it closed. What's wrong? Momo asked him and looked back to where he was looking. That is an all-traditional cafe. It closes early sometimes depending on the owners. No, it's not that. I just have a feeling that someone is watching me. Must be my imagination or my hunger. Do you mind if we stop for ramen on the way home? Momo giggled, sure, why not? You deserve it, Mr. Undisputed Number 1. They both laughed at the title she just labeled him. Unbeckoned to them on a light pole next to cafe, a single raven sat on top of it staring at them before flying off into the sunset. Chapter 9. All the pro heroes sat in the meeting room to see what would happen to Naruto, with their opinions bouncing off the walls. They all agreed Naruto far exceeded the right to be a student. The question now was, should he skip school and become a hero? I was there, spoke the raven-haired heroine. I heard what he said to his last opponents. Asawa, how have the other students responded to him? Todoroki has responded positively to what Naruto and Midoriya told him. He has slowly begun to use his fire deliberately. His offense has improved dramatically with the use of fire, and defense has become stronger with his ice. Bakugo, on the other hand, is still as bash as ever, but has begun to join his classmates in activities and trainings, specifically Uraraka. Aizawa spoke to describe how the students have been behaving. He also has been helping the city in any way he can. His clones are truly amazing at accomplishing most tasks, spoke 13. Ever since the festival, his has become quite the celebrity. The celebrity status could get to his head real quick, Ectoplasm stated. The last we need is a hero abusing their power for personal gain. I have seen young Naruto in action. His fists tell a story of sadness and perseverance. He has truly experienced hardship in his life, and I doubt he would do anything to take advantage of someone. All Might claimed at the office. He is still too young to be a hero. Spoke Nezu, drinking his coffee, although in his world he is considered an adult already. I do find something Naruto needs to work on, Midnight spoke. When Bakugo taunted him about his sensei, he reacted without thinking. Actions like that could cause problems in the future. I see. You do have an argument right there. I am sure with some classes he can control his emotions to prevent disasters like that. I believe Aizawa could help him with that, stated Mick whenever he is involved. Emotions are drained from the scene. He teased, but only to be surprised by Nezu. I agree. I believe Aizawa has the ability to help him control that. He has changed many heroes in the past after all. Well then, it is settled, young Naruto is now a student of UA, exclaimed All Might. The city has been overrun by Naruto clones. If someone needs small tasks or help, his clones were there. His popularity skyrocketed with the civilians. He was forbidden to do anything that involved crimes. That is why they were heroes, the pros told him. He argued with them, but nonetheless accepted that. It was their job after all. He had just finished a run and was sweaty. After celebrating with his friends, his training resumed to its normal pace. Some of the heroes surprised him with their powers. They might not be that strong, but they were certainly effective using them at the adequate moment. The villains he had seen in the TV would surprise him, some of them were really twisted in their mind, like the one he saw that killed heroes in the alleyways. So he continued with the normal training from his world. Sometimes he would feel very weak, but he brushed it off that it was because he was out practice. He also blamed it on lack of sleep. His mind would often wander to the girl who has sheltered him in her home, and before he knew it would be 4 in the morning. These feelings would remind him of the pin cat back at his world. His world. His thoughts were taken from his mind when he found himself in his mindscape. The giant 9-tailed fox looked at him with a scorn look. You have long forgotten about me, Naruto. Kurama, sorry, it has been very difficult with me also. I have been trying to get used to this world. That time has gone by real quick. This peaceful world will be the end of me and you both, Naruto. There is something that has been bothering me recently. Your stamina has been dropping every day. I have noticed that too, but I haven't been sleeping well these past few days. Momo has been on my mind a lot. Naruto replied. I see your infatuation for the pink girl has begun to disappear. This new one, I like her. The fox smirked. Yeah, me too. Naruto's eyes snapped open after saying, but before he was able to recover, a siren took him from his mind. He opened his eyes to see a fire truck pass by him. Smoke could be seen from afar. His mind suddenly got a rush of memories. One of his clones popped trying to get inside a burning building. There was a small girl trapped inside, but all the heroes nearby could not get to her. His feet began to move rapidly to the direction of the smoke. The streets were taking too long for him and he couldn't see which building was on fire. Thinking fast, he applied chakra to his feet and began running up the side of the building. Another clone popped and the memories began filling the info he needed. The girl has been incapacitated, falling debris in the second to last floor. As soon as his foot touched the top of the building, he jumped straight up to spot the burning building. It was several blocks away, but at least he has visual of the area. He could see Lady Mountain there, but she is unable to grab the building without hurting the girl and herself with the fire. The water heroes can't reach that high, and the wind heroes are afraid to spread the fire to other locations. Naruto's speed began to increase with each building he jumped. A third clone popped and he was able to recall that almost all exits were blocked by fire. I guess I need to create one. His body began to glow and Kurama's chakra flowed around his body. When he reached the burning building, he used all the momentum he had and crashed in the building. The civilians down below only saw someone crash in the fire building. The moment Naruto entered the burning building, the heat began to take its toll. His breathing was beginning to slow down. His vision was blocked by smoke. He had to rely on his senses to find the girl. Seeing through fire and smoke was very difficult to navigate. He walked down a corridor and began checking every room. He would kick open the door only to be met with a flash fire that he barely managed to dodge. Idiot, there is only so much I can heal, you know. Being burned is one of few things that is hard for me to heal. I know, Kurama. I just have to find the little girl. He reached the next door and took out his kunai. He punctured the door and let the oxygen and dust leave the area before he opened the door to reveal nothing. He continued to walk down the corridor when the flooring gave away, almost taking Naruto with it. I have to find this girl quick, who knows how long this building would last. That is when he heard it, a faint cough. Immediately his body turned to the sound of noise. Little girl, where are you? He waited for a response but was met with silence. He grunted before walking towards the direction the cough came from. As he turned the corridor, he was almost crushed by a burning beam that fell. He began to feel weak. The cough came again from a door behind him. He did the same as before where he punctured the door. After he let the oxygen and dust leave the room, he opened to see a girl fainted in the middle of the room. A fallen piece of wood was on top of her. She was still unconscious. The coughing was a natural reaction of the body trying to save itself. He quickly approached her and summoned 2 clones to help him pick up the beam. As they did that, he knelt down and picked up the girl in his arms. She looked dirty from all the soot on her face. The fragile being was no older than 3 years old. "Okay, you two, create holes on the ceiling so we can escape." The clones nodded and began doing Rasengans. The first one jumped and created a hole on that floor. Next was the top layer, and clone did what he was ordered. As soon as the opening was created, Naruto jumped through hole very high. Lady Mountain recognized Naruto and immediately caught them in her hand before taking them to safety. The building soon collapsed behind them due to the Rasengan shaking the damaged building. The giant hero took them to the nearest ambulance and let them go there. "Thank you, Lady Mountain, you're awesome." Naruto grinned dirty from the smoke. "No, Naruto, thank you for saving the little girl, but quick, take her to the ambulance so they could help her." She smiled back. Naruto nodded before giving the girl to the paramedics, who began helping the little girl before they took her away. The little girl opened her eyes and very softly said, "Thank you," before closing her eyes. Naruto smiled before the world turned dark to him as well. The blonde woke up to a familiar scene. "Bachan is going to kill me." He tried to sit up before he felt the weight on his hand. He turned to see Momo resting next to him. He gently smiled before nudging her. "What, Naruto, Naruto?" She hugged him with bone-crushing strength. "Momo can't breathe," he said before he was released by the blushing girl before being slapped on the face. "Next time you do something reckless, I'll hurt you myself," she said angrily before calming down, "although I let you off on this one. When I got the call that you were in the hospital, I didn't know what to think before the doctors told me what you did. The little girl is dying to meet you." "How is she, by the way?" he asked curiously. "She is fine, nothing was burned. Her respiratory system is a bit damaged due to the smoke, but she should be able to do a full recovery. The question is, what happened to you? You just fainted all of a sudden. I thought you never overexhaust yourself." "That is what the doctors said. I just haven't been resting well, that is all," he said nervously. Momo eyed him, "And why is that, Naruto?" Bad dreams," he lied completely. He wasn't going to admit it to her directly. She continued to study him before she sighed and dropped the subject. "I know you're lying, but I'll drop the subject since you're in a hospital. I'll go let the doctors know you woke up. I'll be right back." She smiled and opened the door. Something strange happened in this moment. Naruto waited for the door to close, but he never heard it. "Momo? Is something wrong?" He looked at her direction to see her still smiling at him with the door opened. The TV was in static and the clock stopped ticking. He looked at the window to see a bird stop in midair. "Hello, Naruto." The blonde turned to see a man with sunglasses leaning against the wall in front of him. Had short raven-colored hair. His pale skin reminded him of Sasuke, and the vibe he got was the same. "Ninjutsu, I assume?" Naruto questioned the man in front of him. "You're not as dumb as you look." He smirked. "Tell me, Naruto, how is it that you got here?" After defeating Madara, Kagaya appeared to try and take over the world. The man was surprised to hear the name Madara and Kagaya in the same sentence. He continued to listen behind his sunglasses. "My team and I were able to defeat them after the old sage hermit lent us his powers." "When you say old sage hermit, do you mean the sage of 6 paths?" "Yeah, he appeared before me and Sasuke. He gave him a Rinnegan and me his truth-seeking orbs." "Sasuke Itachi's brother. I assumed he died before this." "He killed the entire Uchiha clan to prevent a coup d'etat in Konoha. He spared only Sasuke for him to use Itachi as a source of strength with hatred." The man before Naruto nodded. "I see, I guess it couldn't be prevented after all. Even I could tell the clan was getting angsty after the election of the 4th Hokage. I couldn't imagine the burden he had to carry." "Yeah, but enough about me, who are you?" Naruto sat up on his bed eyeing the man. "I am Shisui Uchiha," he said plainly without hesitation. Naruto was shocked to say the least. An Uchiha in front of him. A legend nonetheless. "How did you get here, Shisui?" "After jumping off the cliff, I heard a vacuum sound like a vortex appear before me and got sucked in. All I managed to hear was an elderly cough." Madara, Naruto answered. "And I've been here ever since." The Uchiha ended. "How have you managed alive here?" "I mean, when I first got here I got lucky. I met Momo who helped me out a lot." "How can you even see?" "I remember Itachi telling me you lost your eye to Danzo and the last one you gave it to him." "We're ninja, Naruto. You take away one of my senses, the other 4 will take over. In the time I have spent here, I managed to create a sonar using a small amount of chakra. That is something I have to warn you about." "Warn me about what?" The blonde questioned the Uchiha before him. "Your chakra levels don't regenerate here," Shisui said, dead serious. "What do you mean?" "I have been using my clones non-stop and even transformed into tailed beast form a couple of times. This is not our universe, Naruto. There is no chakra system flowing in the environment that helps us replenish anything we've used up," he answered back to blue-eyed teen. I was able to gather nature energy to use Sage mode, how do you explain that? He countered. Nature will always have energy, Naruto. The grass, the earth, the wind give life to the world. I am talking about chakra here. I am telling you from experience. My chakra levels are dangerously low. I have passed out from chakra consumption and I have complete control of my chakra. That would explain why my sage powers from the old man disappeared. Is that the reason why I can't sense your chakra all the times? Yes, the man answered him back, I have managed to suppress it to minimal use. I say I have about 2 years left before I die. There was a silence between them. Naruto was on a time limit. He had Kurama to thank for those huge reserves of his. Is there a way back? Naruto wondered with hopeful eyes. There is a villain that is able to create portals. He might be our only way back. Shisui went to the counter and picked up syringe and went to where Naruto was laying down. In the meantime, I'll be taking this. He injected the syringe and began drawing out his blood. Ouch. What is wrong with you? The blonde began to complain. We used to get stabbed all the time, but you can't handle a needle. He teased. Once Shisui figured he drew enough blood, he took out the needle and began to seal it. He began to walk back to the door. I'll be seeing you around, Naruto. He stopped to look at the frozen girl next to him. Don't fall in love. We don't belong here, remember. With that he walked out. In split second everything began moving once again. Momo walked out the door and closed it. Naruto kept looking at the direction Shisui left. A tap in the window startled him and found a raven with a note on his leg. He opened the window to get the paper and watched as the bird left. He opened it to reveal an address with a message. If you need answers, this is my home. US. Chapter 10. A raven-haired man walked through the sidewalks of the busy street surrounded by cars honking. The sun already setting behind the skyscrapers and giving the background a yellowish with orange color. His sunglasses reflected the image in front of him as he was joined by a raven behind him that went into an alley. Emerging from said alley was a young teenage girl with red hair and 2 ponytails and hazel eyes wearing her high school uniform. She bore a smile and joined the Uchiha walking on the sidewalk. Why did you lie to the kid, Shisui-senpai? The young teenage girl asked in a questioning tone. The man kept on walking, ignoring the question. Senpai? She asked again. I need him alive, Itsuko, was all Shisui told her before continuing his walk. Why not just tell him the truth? Said the red-headed girl as she played with one of her ponytails. If I were to tell him the truth, chances were that he would not listen. Most ninja are like that, especially the Uzumakas. His mother was the same, bash and brute. I had to apply a chakra restrictor to make him think he is losing chakra, so he has to think before doing something idiotic. You saw what he did, jumping into a burning building without protection. Oh. She said, elongating the vowel. Is he like you then? Yes, he is. In fact, he is even stronger than I am. He answered, never turning to face the girl. Really? But he seems so weak and dumb. Looks who's talking, Itsuko, he chuckled. I am not weak. She retorted back to him. That just makes you dumb then, he teased before continuing answering her question. Inside him is the strongest tailed beast, Kyuubi. In my world, nations would go to war to get its power. Luckily my village had it under its possession, primarily under Uzumaki control. Amazing. So he has a beast inside him, how? She looked with glossing eyes. We would seal them into people that were labeled as Jinchuriki. There were 9 in total, and he just so happens to have the strongest one of all. They reached their destination, a corner store named Kodamatsukami. From the outside it looked like a family-owned shop. They would sell all sorts of goods such as candy, drinks, alcohol, and utilities items for personal use. Behind the register, however, there was a latch that led to an underground basement. They descended the metal steps and turned the lights on. The room was lit with green lights and was filled with test tubes from all sorts. Boxes filled with chemicals were against the wall and everything was labeled in braille. You are on closing duties today, Itsuko. Make sure not to fall asleep again, I don't want to lose more merchandise for your clumsiness. She groaned but nodded anyways, you still haven't told me why you need him alive, senpai. Shisui sighed, you are so persistent. Up until now I did not know how to return to my world, but when that boy suddenly appeared my chances improved greatly. Shisui pulled out the vial with Naruto's blood and showed it to the girl, this is Uzumaki blood. If the legends were true from shinobi history, they are related to the Senju clan, who happen to be descendant from Sage of Sixth Paths. The Sage had the legendary Taijutsu, the Rinnegan. These eyes had unimaginable abilities that allowed you to move through dimensions. I'm still not following you, senpai, she responded with a clueless face. If I fuse this blood with mine, I might be able to manifest the Rinnegan and be able to get myself back to my world. He went to a small refrigerator and pulled out a jar with a green liquid. He showed the jar that held an eyeball with red pupils and a black pattern. With my blood and this world's science, I was able to create an artificial Sharingan. It is still in its alpha phase, but it is a small step to get back my eyesight. Once they are operational, they might evolve into the Rinnegan with his blood fused with mine. Until then, I need him alive to make sure I have enough Uzumaki samples. The Kyuubi is a plus. The redhead was amazed at all this information, but only one thing stayed in her head, so you are leaving me? Shisui looked at her before answering, yes Itsuko. This is not my world. I am grateful you helped me out all this time, but I do not belong here. I still need a lot of help from you. Don't you want to help me? She nodded and brushed away the tears that were forming in her hazel eyes. Hi, of course senpai. He nodded before rubbing her hair a mess which she giggled, I guess I better go up and open the store senpai. He nodded before turning to his research. The girl headed upstairs and switched the close sign to open and got behind the register. It was only a matter of time before a blonde teen along with a bubbly-faced brunette walked in to buy some drinks. They were both sweating from running. Hello welcome, Itsuko said with her artificial smile. X. Naruto stretched as he walked out the hospital. By his side was Momo who looked at him with a concerned face, hoping he wouldn't be leaving the hospital prematurely. Outside was the limo waiting for them to take them home. The ride home was quiet as Naruto was deep in thought to what Shisui had just told him. He was dying, slowly but dying. He needed to cut back his chakra consumption. That means no more clones running around the city doing chores. His training would only be Taijutsu from now on. Kyuubi mode would be off limits unless it was an emergency. The only thing he was not sure about was Senjutsu since it drew energy from nature. His thoughts were interrupted by his companion. Are you okay Naruto-kun? Asked the brunette with curious look. The blonde blinked and smiled back to her, yeah, I am fine. He couldn't let her know about his situation. Before he could get away in his thoughts, she got his attention once again. Do you know what happened to Iida's brother? She spoke. Know what happened to him? He replied curious to see what happened to the straight-edge student. His brother was attacked by the hero killer. Hero killer? Naruto was surprised about this. Yeah. As his name mentions, he kills heroes in the line of duties. During the festival his brother was attacked and left paralyzed from the waist down. That is horrible. Is Iida okay? Naruto asked with concern. No one has seen him since he left the festival. The news of his attack was all over the media. The hero killer let Iida's brother live so they knew about him. To think that this world has assassins like in mine. Hopefully he is caught and gets what he deserves Momo. He replied. Oh something came to you in the mail while you were in the hospital. She said with excitement. She reached for a package that was next to her and handed over to Naruto. He opened the brown box and with it came a DVD disc. Momo pressed a button in the armrest and a TV slowly started to appear from the roof. Wow that is awesome. Naruto exclaimed before putting the disc before on the side of the TV. Within seconds the screen turned to the UA logo and All Might appeared with his trademark smile. Congratulations young Uzumaki. Your performance in the festival impressed most of the teachers and staff that we have all decided you have met the requirements to be a student of UA. It is a great honor for me to inform such news. We are looking forward to seeing you become a hero of justice. The image froze with All Might giving him the thumbs up. Both teens looked excited and the girl immediately hugged the ninja. You are finally a student of UA Naruto. Congratulations. She beamed at him. How about we celebrate by going out? My treat of course. She smiled at him. That sounds great. What do you have in mind? He replied to her with his cheeky grin. There is a new movie that just came out that I have been dying to see. Well then let's go to the movies Momo-chan. It's a date. He laughed making the girl blush. The evening was filled with people talking in the busy district. The night seems to bring the life out of Hosu. It was filled with teens and young adults hopping from shops to shops. Perhaps its main attraction was the cinema that recently opened that included many of the new technologies available. Outside the Building, Naruto who was dressed in some casual black pants and orange hoodie walked beside a brunette who chose to wear some tight blue jeans and red sweater. They were waiting for some of their friends who would be joining them in the movie. To his surprise, he saw Uraraka and Bakugo walking towards them. The bubbly brunette had black leggings with a red plaid skirt and white button shirt. Bakugo had some khaki cargo pants with a blue plaid button shirt. The bubbly girl excited and her blonde companion looked like he didn't care. Both girls exchanged greeting and Naruto and Bakugo just nodded at each other before going into the building. The girls went to save them seats since it was a new movie. The boys on the other hand went to buy snacks. The awkward silence between them was driving Naruto crazy. So you and Uraraka? Yeah what of it? The red-eyed blonde kept looking ahead. Nothing, it's just I never would have imagined that you two were dating. Who said we were dating? I came here to make it up to her. He retorted as the line was moving forward slowly. What did you do? Naruto asked with a curious face. I didn't do shit. It was Deku Dumbus. His voice was causing others to turn to see them. Naruto had a comically face trying to get him to calm down. "Anyways, what is with you and Yaoi Rozu?" he asked, bored out of his mind. "Nothing, why do you say that?" Naruto replied as he was the next customer. "You two are pretty much the talk of the class. It's annoying to hear them talk about that." He still hasn't faced Naruto. "Well, I mean, she's helped me out a lot and she is nice." "You better step up your game, idiot. Last I heard the half bastard is interested in her too." Naruto looked at Bakugo before the cashier got their attention. The boys ordered everything the girls asked and some for themselves. Although they struggled to get all their items, they managed to walk up the steps to where the girls were at. The movie started shortly after and the lights dimmed down. The plot featured about a family living in the forest. They couldn't make any sounds, if not some creatures would hunt them down based on their noise. To the boys, the movie wasn't scary. To the girls, however, they would often hide behind their dates. During scare scenes, they would shriek with others in the theater, causing both the boys to laugh. Often Ichako would begin to make Bakugo float before he nudged her and he released her power. Momo grabbed Naruto's arm with a tight grip that would make him uncomfortable. There was a scene that was eerily silent. Naruto was really interested in the movie that he did not feel his pocket vibrate. The family in the movie had made a noise that attracted the deadly creatures. They immediately hid from the monster and were waiting for it to go away. The four teens were leaning from their seats to watch the conclusion when an explosion rocked the movie screen and in came a monster Naruto and Bakugo knew too well. "Nomu?" Naruto shouted, "What the hell is going?" Bakugo cursed, "The fuck is it doing here?" All Might sent it flying the last time. The screaming and shouts got their attention. They saw civilians hurt and running like crazy. "Momo and your Raka-san, help the civilians get out of here, Bakugo and I will handle Nomu." The two girls nodded and sped off helping the civilians. Naruto was about to turn into Kyuubi mode before Kurama reminded him of the consequences. He opted to use clones instead. Before Naruto could react, Bakugo lunged towards the artificial villain at full speed, propelling himself with his hands. He blasted the monster on the side of the head before being sent back flying with a punch. Following the monster's attack, Naruto quickly raced to it with a Rasengan in his hand to send it flying back in the streets. "Bakugo-kun." Uraraka shouted, gaining the attention of both blondes, "I think Deku is in trouble. I got a message from him with an address but nothing else." She threw the phone to him and he caught it and read the location. "An alley at 4210 Eku Street." He read to Naruto, "That isn't that far from here." After Bakugo put the direction in the phone's GPS, he tossed it to Naruto, "Go see what it is. This Nomu isn't as strong as the one All Might faced. They might just be replicas but not the original one. This bastard is gonna pay." Naruto nodded before jumping out the hole in the theater and sprinted to the direction the phone was pointing him to. In the background he heard Bakugo's infamous war cry, "Die." Followed by massive explosives. Naruto knew the moody blonde would be alright. Naruto nodded. There was several fires and smokes throughout the city. It was a massive attack. Most of the heroes must be busy picking these guys off. He was almost towards the location where he could hear shouts of agony. He picked up his pace and as he did the final turn, his blue eyes met those of blood red. Chapter 11. Those red killer eyes looked right back to Naruto's blue eyes. He had a face of annoyance and no regrets. The blonde noticed Iida and Hiro wasn't familiar with both on the floor. His eyes then turned to see Midoriya and Todoroki facing off the villain and both having bloody injuries. Those same blue eyes then turned back to see the red ones again. "Another one?" spoke the villain with hoarse voice filled with malevolence. He dodged a kick from Midoriya before throwing a kunai to Todoroki who blocked it with an ice wall. He landed a couple of yards back. Before turning to see Naruto again, "But you are different. I can feel it." Naruto dashed into the fight, dodging any knives Stain threw at him. As soon as he got to punching distance, Stain drew a short blade and swung it upwards, forcing Naruto back. "Naruto-kun. Don't let him stab you. If he digests your blood you'll be unable to move." The raven-haired teen shouted from behind him. "I see," Naruto understood and drew his kunai from a pouch. The leer look the villain gave him resembled that of Gaara's when he was younger. "You're the hero killer Stain, correct?" Naruto asked as he analyzed the situation. The narrow alleyway gave little room to move around and work to the villain's quirk. "Why are you different than these fakes?" Stain asked, never taking his eyes off Naruto. He threw another blade to Midoriya who jumped against the wall to dodge the sharp object. "Why are you defending these worthless fake so-called heroes who do nothing but take advantage of the people in need?" He continued with his monologue, stepping forwards to the ninja. "The modern-day heroes do nothing but take from the poor in the form of money and fame. They don't do it of the good of their hearts. There is only one true hero, All Might." Stain lunged forwards at full speed with his katana ready to deliver a fatal blow to the blonde. Naruto's immediate reflex was able to dodge it before aiming his kunai at Stain's heart. The villain noticed where his attack was aimed for and punched Naruto's attack away before an ice wall came between them. Todoroki looked at Stain, who jumped on top of an AC unit. He used his left side to send a fire blast towards the villain, who jumped to the floor and aimed at Deku, who had begun closing the distance in between them, causing the green-haired teen to jump back before he was stabbed once again. The four were at a stalemate, with Stain in the middle of the three. He looked at all the teens and contemplated who to attack. Making his decision, he threw two more blades from his arsenal at Naruto and Todoroki, forcing them to block, and at full speed, went after the one-for-all user. Deku charged his legs and jumped to the wall to get some distance, only to have Stain follow his every move. His quick attack managed to hit one of Deku's arm and draw some blood, but before he could ingest the bodily fluid, Naruto threw his kunai at the villain's hand with deadly accuracy, puncturing his palm. The villain looked at his hand and stared at the blonde once again. "You really are different, aren't you? First you aimed at my heart for an immediately kill, and instead of separating me by shooting the kunai in the space in front of me, you threw it at me directly. You are not a fake. You're just like me." He drew the kunai from his hand, added it to his arsenal before smiling at the bloodied Midoriya. The left arm of the green suit began turning darker where the cut was. "You're not interested in money or fame. Heroes don't go for kills because it will tarnish their reputation. Their image will look bad, thus corporations and businesses will not hire them. You are only interested in justice and your friends, even though they are fakes. That is a true hero. However, since you are defending these fakes, you must die for encouraging their lifestyles." He dashed towards Naruto, throwing two blades at him only for the blonde to block them. Naruto looked at Stain directly and let him attack him. Before the villain's knife could touch him, he pushed it aside and aimed his kunai at Stain's neck. Sensing the danger to come, the hero killer jumped back and looked at the blonde in front of him. "You are right. I am different. I was trained to kill or be killed. I am not interested in money nor fame, just acknowledgement from my precious people. I have been in a war and I have seen my friends be killed in front of me. But I swore on my master's death that I would protect all my friends." I see. Stain studied him once again before drawing two blades in each hand. He turned and with an incredible speed, threw one to Todoroki, who easily blocked it with his ice. However, the ice blocked fire and ice user's vision and did not see the second blade being thrown to Iida on the floor. Naruto cursed and noticed Deku was too far away to move the blue-haired teen from danger and threw himself in front of the blade, puncturing his stomach. Naruto's grunt of pain made some of his blood come out of his mouth. "Please. Stop. This doesn't involve you guys. This is between me and Stain. I have to avenge my brother." The four in the front looked at Iida with tears in his eyes. Nobody else has to get hurt. He tried to move, but the hero killer's quirk prevented that from happening. The teens looked back at the villain, whose frown had not changed at all. His time was getting short, however. Surely the police would come to this location. He had to end it now, or at least his target. Iida. Naruto started as he gripped the blade in his stomach. "Do not let hatred blind you. The hatred you have because of him is making you do stupid things." Naruto pulled out the blade and threw it to the floor before staring back at the raven-haired who was on the floor. An image of how he was facing pain came to his mind before he continued. "I know he paralyzed your brother, but he is still alive. Killing Stain would only cause you harm and start a cycle of hatred. I know, I almost went through the same thing. I lost my master and my sensei to a ninja seeking revenge on what my village did to his own. I was blindly attacking him because of my hatred towards him that I almost lost control of who I was." His words snapped me back to reality. "Justice comes from vengeance, but that justice only breeds more vengeance. I'm pretty sure there are copycats of Stain who would not hesitate to kill you to avenge him, and then one of our friends would do the same, thus creating a never-ending cycle of hatred." Iida looked down in shame at the words Naruto said. "It is hard to acknowledge that truth, Naruto-kun. Still, I cannot allow my friends to get hurt anymore because of my mistakes. If you want us to stop, then stand up." Todoroki shouted at the injured teen. Injunum would never let his friend get hurt. "So stand up and fight." Iida's eyes popped open and knew he was right. He could feel Stain's quirk grow weaker and his fingers began to move. "Naruto." The voice inside his mindscape roared, "Use your chakra. If I feel that you are using too much, I'll knock you out myself. You have to finish this fast." Naruto's mind came back to the battle to see Midoriya and Todoroki struggling to keep the villain back. Izuku was high, trying to keep the battle away from the fire and ice user, while the latter tried keep the fight close to Midoriya. Out of nowhere he heard an engine rev up and saw Iida propel himself to the fight. Recipro burst. His high-speed attack caused the hero killer to freeze in midair and get kicked on the side, while Deku landed a punch on the opposite side of his face. This caused Stain to spin in the air before Todoroki created an ice pillar to hit the villain in the back, bending him at awkward angle. Naruto blinked at the three teens. They finished off the villain without him. He saw how Stain was before he went and checked on him. "He's out cold. I don't think he is getting up anytime soon," the blonde spoke as he applied pressure to his stomach wound. "Naruto-san. Iida went up to him, "Is it serious?" The ninja just grinned and shook his head, "I'm alright, I have had worse happen to me in the past," as he recalled Sasuke's Chidori piercing his body. "We need to tie him up before he does wake up." Then police sirens could be heard getting closer with many heroes by their side. An elderly man zipped with incredible speed to the scene. Torin Midoriya couldn't finish his sentence because a yellow boot had struck his face. "I told you to wait in the train." The small old man looked at the four to see them very injured and then saw Stain. More heroes began getting close with the police and attended the teens. To the surprise of everyone, Naruto's injury was already healed. He just brushed it off as a natural ability. "Shoto!" The flaming hero known as Endeavor shouted from behind. He saw his son and the other teens first before noticing the villain behind them, is that the hero killer, Stain. "Yeah, Midoriya here sent me the location without any details, and I came here to find Iida and him fighting Stain." I see the red-haired man studied the scene and concluded that they were able to stop the villain. A terrible screech was heard behind them. All of them turned to see one of the new Nomas flying towards them with incredible speed. In an instant, he captured Deku with his feet and began to gain air. Deku noticed the Noma was bleeding from an eye and was spilling it everywhere, including on one of the hero's face. Naruto saw the thing and couldn't do anything about it without hurting Deku. All his jutsu were either close ranger or very lethal long-range attacks that could kill the young teen. He cursed, but then out of the corner of his eye, he saw in detail what would happen in a matter of seconds. Stain tore his restraints apart, he licked the blood of the hero's face, activating his quirk and bringing Nomu down, before he sped towards its location and stabbing it in its exposed brain. "Fakes should be killed off" were his words before releasing a terrible killer intent, paralyzing everyone around, with the exception of Naruto who was used to it already. "Ha! You call the killer intent," Kurama laughed before he began seeping his own, as Naruto stared down the villain in the eye with blood-red ones. As soon as it came, Stain's intent was gone and fell. "You really are different." Everyone looked at Naruto before turning back to the fallen villain. Endeavor studied Naruto greatly before brushing it off and went to get Stain. X. Off in a distance, Shigaraki was on top of building observing the arrest of Stain. He was scratching his neck as usual before someone appeared behind him. "I'm guessing your plans failed once again, Tamura, but do not worry, use this as experience and prepare for your next move." "Father, he is everywhere. He is always getting in my way." The teen complained to the well-dressed figure in the background. "He is going to be your rival, just as All Might was mine. There will be many battles that will be lost, but it is setting up to the grand finale where you would claim victory. However, that blonde kid, keep an eye on him. He is going to be an even greater threat if he continues in this world." "In this world? What do you mean, father?" he asked, surprised. "Let's just say a little raven told me he is from a different dimension. We do have an ally that is going to take care of him. We just have to wait." But that the man behind the leader of the League of Villain disappeared. The teen looked at Naruto and Deku as both were smiling. "I'll see you too soon." The news soon spread out that the hero killer was defeated by Endeavor, a cover-up to protect the teens from any future attacks of Stain's followers as Naruto predicted. The four teens were reprimanded by the pros before congratulating them after their wounds were healed. As soon as Momo found out what Naruto faced, she smacked him in the head and then hugged him, something Naruto found to be funny. "Why are you laughing? I don't see anything funny of being stabbed in the stomach. You see, I think my bashfulness is beginning to rub off on you. You just hit me in the head, something you wouldn't do before." He chuckled, making the girl blush because he knew he was right. "I'm sorry for making you worry, Momo-chan, I just have to protect my friend's Databeo." He grinned, getting warm smile back from the girl. Chapter 12. The four teens who had defeated Stain were inside a police station being questioned by the authorities. All of them had been healed before coming to the building, where they were immediately thrown into an office that was soundproof. Before anyone said anything, the policeman began to speak to them. "It was awfully reckless what you four did today, especially you Tenyu-san. Personal grudges can blur the lines between a hero and a villain." The teen with glass nodded in shame. "However, it is truly amazing that you all were able to take down the notorious hero killer. UA really does produce amazing heroes. It is truly remarkable how you four were able to analyze and detect where he was going to strike without any forensics to back you up. I commend you for that. However, due to safety reasons, we cannot give you the credit for defeating Stain." "I'm assuming for copycat killers, officer?" Naruto asked and got a nod in response. "Correct, Stain had a cult following underground. To them, Stain was a god and his ideology their religion. If word found out that four teens were able to defeat Stain, you and anyone close to you would be in grave danger." The four teens nodded and Deku spoke. "So who is receiving the credit then?" "Endeavor. It would be more believable that the number 2 hero could defeat Stain without anyone challenging him. He was also the closest one to the crime scene, and his agency was also the ones who took care of the Nomus." Todoroki only looked down at the mention of his father. He wasn't upset or disappointed, for once he was okay with him taking the credit as it did protect his friends and classmates, such as the three next to him. Anyways, it's time for you lot to go home. Do me a favor and stay out of trouble, okay? The villains are getting much dangerous and that last we need is future heroes to be killed when they are not supposed to be there in the first place. The four teens nodded before leaving the stations. An awkward silence was among them before Iida broke the silence. I am sorry for my recklessness. You guys got hurt for my dumb vengeance. Don't worry about Iida, that's what friends are for, Deku said before Naruto continued. Yeah, I know how you felt before, but trust me, you do not want to go down the road of vengeance, it can totally change you in a way you may not like. I knew a guy who did that in my world. Thus don't pick fights you are not ready to fight, Iida. We got lucky all of yous were able to defeat Stain. Todoroki finished the conversation before leaving towards his home. Naruto was relaxing in his room. So much has happened since he arrived here. He joined a school, he has become a hero in the making, he almost died and passed out, only to find out he is dying slowly from a ninja that was where he came from. To top it all, he still had no idea how to get back. A knock on the door got his attention, Naruto-kun. The door opened to show Momo in her pajamas. What's up, Momo-chan? Naruto smiled at her. How are you doing? She walked in sitting on his bed. I'm fine, just a bit tired from all the things happening around me, he chuckled. I bet after taking down the hero killer you must have been exhausted. Then police gathered you all up and you spent the night with them. Yeah, I can finally rest in bed. Naruto threw his head back on his pillow, gaining an amused face from the brunette in front of him. I'm sorry for making you worry, Momo-chan. She shook her head, it's okay. If it hadn't been for you showing up at that moment, who knows what could have happened to our friends. Believe me, I think they could have handled Stain by themselves, he smiled back at her. She smiled at him before remembering where Stain stabbed him. How's your wound? She asked concerned at her housemate. It's all healed up, like it was never there. Naruto lifted his shirt to where he was stabbed and to Momo's surprise there was no scar. I am still amazed how you heal up quickly, it's almost as if you have a healing quirk. It's all thanks to the demon inside of you, correct? She said. Naruto smiled, yeah, it's all thanks to him I'm still alive. Does it have a name? The girl asked a blonde who only gave her a cheeky smile. The furball's name is Kurama. Kurama, I guess I have to thank him for taking care of you and you dumb stunts. She grinned, causing the fox inside to roar in laughter. Do you know why your dad sealed it inside of you? Naruto's face softened with a smile. Let me tell you the story of when I was born. Momo's interests perked up as she listened closely to the blonde's origin. My mom was the original Jinchuriki of Kurama. She was an outsider who arrived at my village as a refugee. Being from the Uzumaki clan, the Leaf benefited from the immigration since Uzumakas were known for the sealing expertise. The first Hokage's wife passed down Kurama to my mother. She shared the burden of being a Jinchuriki and outsider, so kids often teased her about it. Momo gasped before Naruto laughed. However, my mom was never one to take crap from anyone. She would often beat those kids who teased her that they labeled her the red hot habanero due to her hair being fiery red. This made Momo smile as she could see where Naruto got his habits. So you got that from your mom, right? Naruto smiled back at her and nodded. Yeah, I got most of my mom's habit, including my love for ramen. So how did your mom meet your dad? They had the same class together, sort of like we do. Naruto grinned and while Momo blushed. He used to stare at my mom from afar, but she often brushed him off as being too girly. He often would follow my mom and whenever she got in a fight he was there. Seemed like your dad was a little stalker, Momo smiled at him. Yeah, but if it wasn't for that I wouldn't be here. One night, 3 ninjas from another village kidnapped my mom since she carried Kurama. As they made her walk she began leaving strands of her red hair that always got her into trouble. When they were nearing the border, my mom had all but lost hope. She had accepted her fate and continued walking until she was met with blue eyes. Your dad, she said with an amazed voice. Yeah. I am a spitting image from my dad. My father took down those 3 high-ranked ninja while still being a genin. In his hand were the strands of red hair my mom had left behind and in his words, your hair is so beautiful that I noticed it right away. Ever since then my mom saw him a great ninja and eventually married him. That is so beautiful, Naruto-kun, she said with teary look. Yeah, it is. Fast forward some years and my father was made the Yondaime Hokage and my mom became pregnant with me. Since the seal of the tailed beast become weak during childbirth, my mother was transported into a secret place only a handful of people knew about it. However, someone was able to sneak and caused a havoc. Right after my mom had given birth to me, a man in a mask kidnapped my mom and extracted Kurama. Normally Jinchurikis die when their tailed beasts are extracted. Momo gasped at this as she continued to listen to Naruto's origin. But the Uzumakas also have a life longevity and she was able to live a bit longer. Thankfully my dad was able to get her back with a jutsu that teleported him to her. However, the man released a mind-controlled Kurama to the village, who began to destroy everything in its path. After defeating the masked man, my dad knew there was only one way to subdue Kurama. He went and picked my mom and I from our house and got us near Kurama. After some arguments between them, it was settled that I would be the new Jinchuriki because my father wanted me to control the power of Kurama when the world was in danger once again. The sealing technique my father used was a double-edged sword since it required him to be sacrificed as well, the Reaper Death Seal. So both of your parents' Momo was letting loose tears now. My dad was a genius and he knew the consequences of a village being with their strongest weapon. He also did not want to burden anyone else with this. He sealed some of his chakra inside of me in case I needed help in the future from him, but he also knew that he wasn't going to be enough. I needed a mother's love. With his final strength he sealed some of my mom's chakra in me as well to help me control Kurama in the future. It was because of that act of selfishness that I was able to meet my mom. Naruto now had tears as well. When I met my mom in my mindscape, she explained all this to me and showed me how that night went. Both of them made me who I am even though I had never met them alive. It is because of them I become really strong. As Naruto finished, she received a bone-crushing hug from his housemate. It never ceases to amaze me how you've become such a wonderful person, Naruto-kun. I am sure your parents were amazing people and they must be really proud of the person you have become. I met my dad once more before I arrived here. He was brought back to life with an illegal jutsu by a madman. I was able to let him know how I was living the life my mom always wanted. Momo gave him a soft smile before she began creating 2 necklaces. I got an idea from your dad. He was able to teleport by a seal, am I right? Naruto nodded as he stared at the gift she made for him. Although this doesn't give us that benefit, it will allow us to find each other wherever we are. It is a tracking device and if anything ever happens to us, we'll know where each other is at. Here, let me put it on you. As she went behind to unhook the one Tsunade gave him, she noticed a small tattoo. What is this tattoo, Naruto-kun? Tattoo? I have never gotten a tattoo. Momo grabbed her phone and took a picture of it and showed it to Naruto. He instantly knew what it was. He tried to play it off as cool as possible, that is part of the seal my dad made. He quickly put the necklace on and faced Momo. I see she eyed the seal but brushed it off. Anyways, it's time for bed. Tomorrow begins the last week before final exams. Naruto tensed at this, final exams. After Momo had closed door, Naruto's surprised face changed. He closed his eyes and entered his mindscape to speak Kurama. Is it a seal? Naruto asked the giant fox. Yes, it is. It is truly amazing how I was not able to pick up on it, but there is only one person who has been close to you that could do this, the giant fox replied. Shisui. Correct. I'm assuming it has something to with you losing your chakra. I'll try and see what I can do about it, but in the meantime, get some rest. We already have the bastard's home address, we'll pay him a visit about this later. Yeah, I need to get to the bottom of this and he is the only one with answers. Kurama Nine-Tails swung behind him as he got close to the blonde. Kid, why did you tell her about me and your parents? Kurama asked looking curiously at the blonde. He smiled, I deem her trustworthy and I highly doubt she'll do anything to hurt us. I see. There is one thing I do agree with Shisui, be careful with attachments. We do not belong here. Classes resumed the following day and the usual rowdy halls were quieter this time of year. Everyone was studying for their final exams. The students who hadn't studied the whole year were now in the library trying to cram a semester's worth of information. Naruto wasn't the exception. After talking to Izawa to see if he was going to be exempt from taking the test, Naruto was told that he wasn't receiving any favors from any of the teachers. Right now he had 2 clones in the library reading anything they could get a hand to, while the real one was eating with his classmates. With one hand he had a fork and in the other had a book. He was sitting with Iida, Deku, Achako and Momo, but wasn't really paying attention to their conversations. Naruto-kun, you must take a break once in a while, Momo told him. She had helped earlier select books that could help him catch with the rest of the class. In fact, most of her class needed help and she decided to start a study group. I know, but there is a lot of stuff from this world that I don't know. Besides, maintaining a study plan will help me back when I want to become Hokage. He grinned back before turning back to the rest of the table. They all had smiled back to him and resumed eating before he turned to see Uraraka staring into a distance. He turned to see into the direction she was looking at and was met with another blonde who was being annoyed by Kirishima and Mina. Before he could ask her about it, the bell rang for them to go back to class. Oh well, a question for later. After several days of cramming much information, the test began in UA. Each classroom was eerily silent. If someone were to drop a pin, it would echo throughout the school. Naruto stared at the paper in front of him and knew he was ready. The study sessions with Momo's group and his clones made it a lot easier. He wasn't expecting a high grade, but he was sure he was going to pass the written portion. The practical exam is what he was worried about. There was not much going on besides rumors of going against robots, but it seemed almost too easy. His mind shifted back to the exam and began answering each question carefully, and for the next 3 days, that's how it went, draining everyone from their mental juice. When the time came for the practical exams, everyone was ready to blow some steam off. The class met in front of their training area and were met with their teachers. "Hello students," Principal Nezu began, "this year's practical exam would be different from the previous ones." The students who were looking for an easy grade stopped in their tracks as they heard what the principal had said. "Due to certain events that has happened to UA students, we have decided it is best to prepare you for actual combat instead of simulated robots." The class was stunned as they heard this, "But does that mean we are fighting each other?" asked Mina. "No, putting you against one another doesn't give you an actual combat experience, since most of you will hesitate to hurt your friends. Instead, you'll be facing us teachers in a 2 versus 1 match. Of course we will be wearing these high-density weights that will limit our movements and level the playing field." The piece of the tech was shown to be nothing but cuffs. The only way to pass the exam is to either handcuff the teacher or escape. Sometime when you know you can't win a fight, you must run to call for backup. As Awa explained this to the class, these are the teams and who they are facing against. "I'll be facing Yaoi Rozu and Todoroki. Midoriya and Bakugo will be facing All Might." As in Q, his smiling giant figure landing in front of the 2 boys, choking them. Vanetta and Siro will be facing Midnight, followed by Jiro and Koda against Present Mick. After their fight is Asui and Tokoyami against Ectoplasm. The next match is the only one that'll have a team of 3, due to the odd number of students in the class. Aoyama, Mina, and Kaminari will be facing our Principal Nezu. Shoji and Toru will be going against Snipe. Iida and Ajiro will battle Power Loader, and the last match will be Naruto and Uraraka against 13. The teams begin to look at each other. Naruto looked at Momo and smiled at her before going to meet Uraraka, who was visibly shaking. She was going against her favorite hero after all. "Change into your costumes and you have 15 minutes to prep. After that go into your assigned locations and wait for your exams." As always said before the teacher turned to leave, leaving behind the students. In the locker room, Naruto looked at his briefcase. When he got accepted into the course, they asked him if had any ideas for costumes. Being from the ninja world, he went through his options quickly and gave his choice, Anbu. He looked in the mirror and was met with the same attire the Anbu used. His mask was the only thing that was different for each member of the Anbu force. He placed it on and stared at the fox mask in the mirror. When he met Uraraka in front of the door to their exam, Naruto had his mask sideways so he could talk to her directly. "Hey Uraraka-chan, are you okay?" The brunette turned and blushed. "Oh sorry, I was lost in my own thoughts. I was just thinking what would be the best way to defeat 13. Right, what quirk does he have anyways?" The blonde looked at the girl. "In his finger, there is a black hole that can suck anything in. It is very dangerous because once you're in there is no out." "That is pretty dangerous, but it also give us an advantage." The blonde replied, confusing the girl. "What do you mean?" asked the bubbly girl. "I'll show you when the time is right," he grinned. "There is something I've been wanting to ask you." "What is it, Naruto-kun?" she wondered as she stared at the blonde next to her. "You have been distracted lately. Are you alright?" She looked confused. "I'm fine, why do you ask that?" "Well, last week I saw you staring at Bakugo, and what is going on between you two?" The girl blushed madly. "Has it been that noticeable?" "Well yeah, I mean when I first got here, it seems you and Deku were together or something. Lately, I get the feeling that something happened between you two and you started getting closer to Bakugo." Ichako looked at the ground before she began talking. "Nothing happened between me and Deku, at least nothing serious. It was more about me. During the festival when I was preparing myself mentally to fight Bakugo, he came into the locker room and gave me his notebook. The one he has data on all the heroes, right?" the blonde answered. "Yeah, that one. He said it contained all the notes he had on Bakugo and to use them. That's when I realized he didn't have faith in me. I didn't blame him though. I was going up against the #1 student in our class. Still it hurt." "I see. I understand you completely. When someone doesn't acknowledge your strength or your hard work and still baby you around. My grandma used to that to me back in my world." His face softened as he thought about Tsunade. "However," the girl continued, "when I fought Bakugo, he acknowledged me. Perhaps he didn't say it, but I could feel it. There was a reason he kept pushing me back and he knew that once I laid a hand on him, I would have won. He never once relaxed and he motivated me to keep trying until my body no longer could. Deku was my driving force until that point, but the gap between my power and Bakugo made me realize I needed to do serious training. I asked him to train me and he accepted it. He told me things straight up and said I lacked in combat. That's why I went to Gunhead on my internship to learn hand-to-hand combat." Well, Uraraka, as long as Bakugo doesn't hurt you, I'm fine with that. Although you really don't need my permission, Naruto chuckled, causing the girl to laugh as well. The door opening behind them brought them back to Earth. Their final exam was about to start. The two entered what appeared to be a replica of USJ. Being 13's area of expertise, it gave him an advantage over the teens. They began exploring and noticed that everything was too quiet. You know, since 13's quirk allows him to pretty much protect any exit point, he might just be guarding it. Uraraka explained to the ninja. Naruto already had his fox mask on and was studying every piece of information that came before him. You're right. His quirk is pretty much like an ultimate defense. 13 can just stand by the exit the whole exam and we would never be able to pass him. I doubt we would be able to handcuff him too. According to the layout, the exit should be close by. Uraraka pointed out. Both teens began getting closer to their destination that lay on top of some stairs, and just as Ichako said, 13 was waiting for them in the exit. So you were able to analyze the situation and deducted that I was guarding the exit. Well done, however that is not how you passed the exam. The pro hero raised his hand and on his index finger a cap pop off, black hole. Immediately the air around the teens began getting sucked in the direction of the astronaut. Thinking immediately, Naruto grabbed the railing that the stairs provided. Uraraka was able to grab Naruto's hand and pulled herself up to the rail as well. How long can you last, Uraraka-chan? Naruto asked with a serious face. Last what? Holding for my life. Probably 5 minutes, a bit more if I make myself lighter. She answered while her hair was getting in the way. Okay, let's wait for 5 minutes before I do something crazy. This is a test and 13's quirk is a dangerous one. He can't kill one of us or the school would be in big trouble. The blonde explained to the brunette who noticed where he was getting at. So we wait 5 minutes and let go. His reaction should be to stop and protect us. If we let go too soon he might catch on to something fishy and try to do something else. Exactly, I'll do my best acting and pretend to be surprised, that is when you'll sneak around him and go for the arrest. Got it? She smiled and did her best to maintain her grip on the railing. Behind them 13 began taunting, I can go on forever. My quirk does not affect my stamina directly. Might as well give up, kids. The 5 minutes were agonizing for the teens whose arms felt like they could snap any minute. Naruto looked at Uraraka and nodded before he released his grip. Crap. Naruto yelled and flailed his arms around. 13's was shocked and immediately closed his finger as Naruto got closer. That's when he noticed Naruto's smirk. The blonde tackled down the astronaut. He was able to grab one arm, but the other one remained loose. Just as 13 was about to use his black hole again, Uraraka snapped on the cuffs on him. Ichako, Uraraka and Uzumaki, Naruto, pass. The announcement was made as both teens high-fived each other. What if Naruto was transported to My Hero Academia? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.